Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode
1,000 crore
the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September.
Now, that's an impressive AV, you have to agree with me, all right? Now, ultraviolet automotive is not just advancing the electric vehicle technology, but also shaping the future of green transportation across the country with its cutting-edge energy infrastructure and a lot more efficiency that they're bringing in to the fore. Now, let's kickstart the series and hear from the leading voices across industries today. I'm sure our panelists will bring a wealth of experience and unique perspectives to today's discussions. So first up, now we have to understand that as we're stepping into a new decade, the technology is advancing at a rapid pace, from artificial intelligence to quantum computing, and a lot more that is there to understand for all of us. This global revolution is set to redefine the future of humanity as we know it. And India's thriving startup ecosystem, powered by the tech-savvy talent that we all possess, will play a pivotal role. On this note, let's begin with our first panel discussion. Moderating this session is Niranjan Narayan Swamy, the Executive Editor of Republic Media Network and Editor, Republic Kannada. Joining him are the panelists, Ajit Padmanabh, founder and CEO, Who We Are, Shubhabra Debnath, co-founder and CTO, Neural Garage, Ankush Sabharwal, founder and CEO, Kurover.ai, T.N. Suhas Tejaskanda, founder and CEO, FWDA, Kamaljeet Singh, AVP Product Management, GeoCloud. Over to you, Niranjan.
Priyanka. So we have Ajit Padmanabh, Subhabrata Debnath, Ankush Sabharwal, Suhas Tejaskanda, and Kamaljeet Singh. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this discussion on AI and technology. I'm going to just set the ground for the discussion. Specifically, this is called the Budget Roundtable. So we look at what India is talking about AI, what India thinks about AI, specifically from a budget and the economic survey. I'll start with that. And then we'll talk about where we need to go from here. So the economic survey has cautioned India on AI, right? And the impact on India's economy specifically. There are risks, there are opportunities. Now I'll ask a question, it's an open-ended question, and we'll take a quick opening round of 30 seconds each, and then we can take it from there. Is it a barrier or a hurdle in India's growth story, right? AI has always been there, but AI has started thinking. AI has started ideating, right? Now this is where the government is cautious on AI, but they also have an India AI mission, right? And they want the India AI story, and that is why we are here. I'd like to get your initial thoughts on the thought of India AI mission, whether it is the need of the hour, whether the risks and the opportunities are balancing out in the AI industry. I'll start with you, 30 seconds, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. What I generally think is that it's like an opportunity. It's not really a risk. Like you said, AI is now creating stuff. I wouldn't say thinking as of yet, but it's creating stuff. So that makes certain level of services not redundant, but evolved. So now what I think is certain people working in certain layer of services, they would be subjected to upgrading their services so they could service a better sector. So I think like it's an opportunity.
All right. Ankush?
Of course, if you see AI everywhere, you see the great push from government and with India AI mission, academia doing a lot of research, technology is creating AI platforms, and application developers creating apps which are solving real-world problems. I think, yes, AI was there earlier, but not at the scale which we are now, and I'm sure AI would enable and enhance any sector which is currently available now. AI is a tool, enabler for every industry, I would say.
Kamaljeet?
I think I'll just add on to it the fact that if we look at AI, it's truly a transformational technology revolution, which is not just going to, let's say, change the way how our enterprises are looking at and adopting and, let's say, getting better efficient systems in place, but it is also about changing our lives day to day, right? Rather than seeing the technology sphere in terms of having, let's say, job displacements and other things, that's part of every technological revolution. It's just going to create new jobs. It's going to make sure that our systems, our processes are able to handle these things much better. And it's specifically looking at from India's perspective, Niranjan, we have plethora of areas in terms of where the application of AI can truly transform our sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, which are somewhat lagging in certain spaces, and that's a big area of application which can truly transform our day-to-day lives. That's what my thought is.
Ajit?
AI is extremely powerful. I think it's one of those technologies that's going to change multiple generations, and I think with power comes greater responsibility. I believe that India can be at the forefront of bringing in that responsibility into AI, making it more ethical, making it more fair. And I think that's the need of the hour, but it's a fantastic technology. And there is potential that India can be, leapfrogging this worldwide.
Okay. Tejas?
Yeah, AI is definitely need of the hour, right? From Jawan to Kisan to all the industries. Definitely AI is needed today, especially in the sector of defense. You cannot have manned systems. It's more of unmanned systems that we are already seeing in place with ongoing wars. So yes, this is the need of the hour. And as he told, AI was always there, but we are tasting it late.
Okay. All of you are from very diverse fields working with AI, right? So I'm going to try and keep this discussion freewheeling, and feel free to come in. And I'll start with Kamaljit. You can take the first one. The India AI mission, right? There is a amount of money that is set aside for development of artificial intelligence, right? Is that money enough? Does India, looking at the spurt of AI, need much more to be done?
All right. So to be honest, in terms of the good part is the government is serious about AI, right? I think looking at today's world, no government can think that you can have growth coming without AI, right? So obviously with the coming of India AI mission, it basically shows the trust and the confidence Indian government is putting into the technology adoption. Yeah, it truly has, like I said, the power to democratize technology for every Indian citizen, right? That's first. The moment, let's say, if you look at how the telecom revolution happened, more or less it changed the way how we basically interact with businesses, right? The way we interact with education. In COVID itself, we were able to do a lot many things sitting at home itself, right? So that's what's going to happen. Now, if you look at the pillars of Indian AI mission, it is looking from the perspective that the government is focused on addressing not just, let's say, the opportunities, which they want to really ride high on, but also to address the risks of AI. Right? So there are pillars which are looking at addressing the data sets which are needed for AI to make sure that these are more governed, right?
Yes.
These are high quality data sets. At the same time, they're also putting in efforts towards the setting up of incubation centers, having startup ecosystems being, let's say, more or less revitalized, focused on AI. So that's going to happen. So I think it's a great initiative. The budgets in time would obviously be increasing, but the thing is we have a start here. That's what my thought would be.
You're happy with the start that we've had?
Definitely. I don't think so any other governments globally, I'm not sure, in terms of have put in AI as a part of their mission in terms of, how do you want to set the policies for that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big difference. It's a part of our policy framework now, which, let's say, the MIT is looking into.
Yeah, and I think, with the India AI mission, with the 10,000 crores budget outlay for the next 5 years, and the year one being 551 crores, we have to look at it in tandem with the National Quantum Mission, because both quantum tech and AI tech will be compounding each other. AI will not be able to exist without quantum, because AI can only go that far, like the gentleman here said. It's not thinking, it's just probably creating something, right? So quantum will give them more power. So I think we got to look at both these aspects, and going by that, and also historically, India has not been doing great on R&D. So I think this generation is more, teething towards R&D, and I think we should welcome this.
One of the concerns I'll put this question to Tejas. When you speak to people about AI, last weekend we had a conversation. I was speaking to an educator, and he said, I'll be out of a job in about 5 years, and his name is Anand Kumar of Super 30. Okay. You would have heard about him. He said, AI, data is democratized. Yeah. Technology is democratized. Across India, kids have access to smartphones, they have access to ChatGPT. And he gave me a use case scenario where he said, just imagine a kid in rural India who's in, say, class 9, class 10, or class 11, class 12, and he may not, be brave enough to ask, let's say, any question in class, but he can ask that question to ChatGPT, and he's practicing on ChatGPT. He's always, getting his answers from ChatGPT. The worry there, I felt, was about what are the answers he's getting from ChatGPT, right? Or what are the answers he's getting from, let's say, any AI search engine. Can you trust the information coming out? Is the base big enough from an Indian context?
That's one of the biggest concerns as well. The quality of the data and ethical, AI, that's a big concern. That's a still question mark. Has to be included in the policy framework, and how do we control? And that would not happen without the infrastructure being in our control. I'll also give you one use case of it. I would talk more specific to my domain. I'm not an educator. So when we talk about some warfare techniques like net-centric warfare, where most of the nodes, every element of the warfare connected to one platform.
Yeah.
And you, when you handle that platform, you need to have a local server in place. And imagine that doing on AWS or Azure. So definitely I cannot imagine to do that. So I think with the infrastructure here, and which is in our own control, and putting certain policy frameworks, only then we can assure a safe next generation.
Yeah, and when you can take this question, and then I'll take that forward with Subabrata. Ankush, when he spoke of ethical AI, and you have this conversation around biased algorithms, how do you fight that? How do you fight, let's say, we at Republic, we often speak about the dangers of a Western bias or a Western influence on Indian democracy and policy making, right? So how do you work around that?
Yeah, see, biasness would be there. See, if we are looking for real AI systems, and if you're looking for making systems from the real data and to get outcome which are towards the reality, it will be biased because data comes from the society, and is society not biased?
Yeah.
Society is biased, right? So now biasness is there. Now, I think you rightly asked, how do we overcome that? So that's again case-to-case basis. So probably maybe there are some systems we may want them to be biased, because we want the real representation of the society. If not, again use AI, Gen AI, and create synthetic data so that we put safety net to the biasness. But there are 4 things which I always kind of vocal about when we create AI systems for our clients.
Can you just pull the mic a little bit towards you? Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So, 4 things when we create any AI systems. First is, of course, the purpose. The purpose of any system which we create should be good and should be vetted. I'm sure the regulations are coming up soon. The purpose should be well defined and articulated. The second is the inclusivity. So when I say inclusivity, it's more of inclusivity of data, which we have to try gathering, creating the system. If we don't have the inclusive data, put the right disclaimer so that users are aware there might be biasness around this area, so that users are aware while consuming the output. Second is the explainability. That's very, very important. Many AI technologies would say explainability is difficult. It is difficult, but we cannot get away from that. We just launch something and the output comes bad, and we say sorry tomorrow. We have huge responsibility towards our users, towards our clients, businesses, and to the society at large. So figure out the way to explain. If not, don't release the products for the consumer. Fourth, of course, the privacy. That's I think much talked about and being dealt with GDPR and DPDPA in India. So so I think we all are working together to make sure we have right regulations, right technology, and right processes to give the right solution, safe, inclusive, responsible solution to the consumers.
Yeah, true.
If I can chime in on the bias side of it.
Sure.
When Facebook was launched, we all use Facebook, we do the scrolling and all that. It was designed on certain algorithms which are behavioral, and those were tested on male white. Okay, that is the test data. So that tells us that all of us are excluded out of Facebook. It shouldn't work for us, right? So where, at who we are in the business of retelling our history the right way. However you want to look at the word right. All right, but it is extremely important that we use this technology and any other bias-ridden technology that you said, even we are biased, but to be slaves to another set of biases and hone our attitude towards it or change our nature, change our mindset, it's going to destroy us as a civilization. That's where for us AI is very foundational. We are looking at indigenous AI building, and we hope that a lot of other companies that will come out
How
with
difficult
these.
is it to build that indigenous AI?
It's extremely difficult because you are starting ground up. Algorithms are mathematical equations. We would have studied all these in mathematics, right? Now, I have to remove all those equations away and start from our scriptures, start from, let's say, Kautilya's Arthashastra, see what that quatrain talks about. Can we convert that into a behavioral model? Can we make that an algorithm and impinge that into the behavioral strata of the entire application that we are building? That's why we are building the metaverse on our own, absolutely indigenous metaverse. It's a long call, it's a long shot, and like KJ was saying, there's a lot of investment required for this. And that's where we think that India AI mission and their collaboration with startups and all of these, I think we will play a vital role there. It's needed. It's needed.
Do you have a view on that, Subabrata? And I'll add one more question. You run an AI startup, right? What are the challenges that you face at an AI startup? What are the opportunities in your specific field? I mean, you're the co-founder and CTO of Neural Garage. I found it very interesting, your model of AI that you use in your products. So one, what are the challenges? Two, what are the opportunities? And how is the government helping you in this ecosystem?
I think one part I would definitely agree. So even we are building foundation models. I've always built foundation models because you have more control over what you're building, and there is an inherent risk if you're using someone else's model because you're only changing the application layer. And AI is essentially a probabilistic thing. No matter how much we try, there will always be a bias variance trade-off. As a company, you can safeguard yourself saying, I followed these rules. But the biggest problem, not the problem, but the biggest challenge is there also exists open source. And you can't, stifle that because that will, stop innovation. So this is something very difficult to tackle. But if the government invests sufficiently in building technology in India itself, that would encourage more individuals to build the entire thing out of India instead of being diverted towards doing other stuff and being dependent on other people.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Just wanted to add to it, I think, one of the aspects of AI when we look at, and that too, let's say general AI, which is something what we're looking at also being used to power generative AI,
yes,
right? The biggest ingredient is data, right? So thing which is powering the artificial intelligence itself has become a problem area now. Because,
yes,
right? At the first stage, you need large amount of data to train that, right?
Correct.
And where do you source that data from, right? The biggest source is what is publicly available, which is, let's say, open source, internet, whatsoever, right? And obviously, that data being populated by any random person who's having some views, you're putting blogs, you're putting comments, so it'll definitely have that bias. It's very similar if I have to draw an analogy, right? How does an individual get his intelligence, right? How do we get our biases? It's based on the information that is fed to us, right? Right from, let's say, the way we are taught in schools, the information that we are consuming in books, the information that we're consuming from, let's say, social media, right? That helps us develop a certain bias in our own heads, right? How do we control that in that perspective? I'm just drawing a very simple analogy.
Yeah.
How do you control that? You go and consult someone, right? You ask your parents, you ask someone who's actually a mentor in that field or an expert in that field to know, is that bias correct, right? Whether what I'm forming. Same kind of guardrails are needed when we have to implement AI very specifically. And I think India AI Mission also wants to look at that aspect. That's the reason it has talked about certain pillars within that space. One is the data sets. So you need to have controlled data sets to be made available for specific applications, right? General models, I understand, you can do that. But something what, let's say, Ajit mentioned, he's trying to build something for Indian history, Indian, I don't want to use the specific terms, but let's say, he's basically bringing all the history onto a platform where people can leverage. But it shouldn't have a certain religious bias which people can find it controversial. But that's not the intent. The intent is to preserve a culture, right? So those are the kind of guardrails you need to make sure that you make sure that your data sets are controlled. You have people from diverse fields who are let's say, providing the oversight for it. That's a big thing. That's a very big thing important, right? Third thing, the data that you're using, right?
Yeah.
Do you have tools to make sure that the data is of high quality? It's not having any missing information. Can you detect bias in that itself? Because AI itself can be used to detect bias. Right? You can have sentiment analysis put together on top of the data while you're processing it before you feed into the AI model to generate an outcome. Right?
Yes.
So those are the kind of 3 steps you can look at. You have tools and technologies to be put there, having a controlled set of data, and then having a field of, let's say, application by certain mentors or diverse field of people who can provide oversight on the outcomes. That's how you can really control a bias in that space. And that can set forth in terms of how you can have controlled applications in different sectors.
Yeah.
Right? You simply cannot have a large language model being applied to solving a problem in agriculture.
Correct.
So that's how it's possibly going
So I'll do a quick round, 30 seconds, because you've sort of opened up a conversation about policy. I mean, it comes down to policy. I mean, can you regulate AI, right?
Yeah.
Quick, 30 seconds, I'll do a round. Can the government regulate AI?
Yes. I'll tell you one thing that I have observed, a very strange thing and a beautiful thing. I was in Mauritius 3 months ago. I was invited for a summit, AI and Tech Summit. I met a minister from UAE. Guess his portfolio? He was minister for AI. So, world is revolutionizing. You see, UAE today stands first in the security, physical security, I mean. Again, data security is also one more thing. Now, even for the AI, they are bringing in protocols and regulations. And that's how I feel having a separate department on, as he was telling, what to feed, what not to feed, what's the quality of your data source, can be definitely regulated from day one. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I agree with him. AI regulation very much required, and I think European Union has already come out with the AI Act in 2024 May, and we are following suit with DPDP or maybe other acts as well. I think the core of the matter in terms of AI and algorithm is, I'll give you a trivia, right? So the NATO Center of Excellence for Strategic Comms, they created a report based on their research on how certain AI-driven mass movements were created. And they fed the images, the Gen AI images, right, back into the AI model detectors. They were charged with the fact that detect it as AI or detect it as human-created image, right? So the AI model was able to detect only 15% of Gen AI images as Gen AI. So you see the frivolous algorithmic languages that we have, which cannot detect their own creation. You can detect your fellow humans, right? So that's what we are dealing with here. Regulation is definitely required. How do we eliminate these things? There is something called white box algorithm concept. Black box is where you don't know what the algorithm does. That's when Facebook and Insta, they're all stuck in their, Congress litigations. But in terms of white box, it'll give us an open chair on what is happening inside and whether this is good, bad, or ugly. I think that's where we have to head through regulation.
I'm going to take that to him because you've set the framework for this. Ankush, you work with, platforms that typically are used by the Indian middle class, I would say, right? How important, in your view, is it to regulate AI? Because when you speak of AI in UPI, AI in ticketing systems, right?
Yeah.
How do you regulate it?
You see, when we buy a physical product in India, don't we look for ISI mark?
Correct.
Right? So why not for software products? So yes, so software products are not tangible, we cannot see. And that's why then there are ISO standards and how this product is going to be built. The processes should be well defined and repeatable. So ISO 9001. So for AI, of course, it's being used by consumers, and consumers probably might not be much aware to test whether to use this system or not. And so technologies should build the technology, should build the product, should solve the solution, and they should not spend too much time in creating the right policies. And who should we depend on to create the policy? Someone should come forward and create the policy.
Yes.
Why not government? So I think if government comes up with a regulation, it would aid and it will help technologies like us, so that we just focus on building applications and not worried about this is the right thing or not. Someone is coming up with the right processes to adopt.
Yeah.
So of course, I think I'm for regulation and they should come up soon.
Yeah. Sure, brother.
Yeah, I would agree. But my principal thought process here is that the regulation should not be reactive. Should be preventive. Because I've seen earlier AI regulations from a reactive standpoint, and they have been a mess. I remember this particular story in US. there was this phone vendor who used to improve their images detection when you click selfies. And a law was passed that you cannot, train on images without taking permission from people. So people had clicked selfies and filed cases on the phone vendor. So these wide swings, you can't predict these. It's ideal if you have a committee who discusses this with, let's say, a body like NASSCOM, and then go forward with a very planned and structured way.
Yeah, true. I'm going to try and move to another point now, given that we have very limited time. Kamaljit, you can start. You can take this one, and then we'll go around the table. One of the takeaways from the economic survey was also of the fear of AI eating into service sector and jobs, right? Even the government in its economic survey has mentioned, there was a fraction, less than 1% shift that they expected, right? Yeah. I don't know whether you call it displacement or a correction, but they feel that was likely to happen in the near future. One, how can AI be used to improve efficiency and productivity of Indian industries? And what are the specific use case and benefits? And do you believe in this view that AI can take away jobs or is taking away jobs?
I think that's a very pertinent question that everybody will have in mind. Anytime a new technology comes, right, there would be something what we call as displacement, right? This displacement doesn't truly have to mean that it's a job displacement, right? It could also mean that reskilling of people within the same set of jobs that they've been doing, right? And also an opportunity for people who are working in that space to upgrade themselves and take on bigger roles, right? If I give a simple analogy of, let's say, when agriculture was being done in the past 30, 40 years back, right? There was no mechanization, right? So you needed 20, 30 people to really go and
yes.
plow the fields, right?
Yes.
What happened? Mechanization came. Did 20 people lose their jobs? No, they shifted to something else, right? Same thing if you look at, and specifically within the, let's say, information technology sector, you will not have job losses. You'll have just a displacement. The good part is AI is a technology which is, let's say, one step above, riding on the same set of tools, technologies, languages on which it is built on, right? So people who understand that will only need to just upgrade and move up the ladder to take on bigger roles in terms of coming up with new, let's say, innovative products, specific use cases. And you asked about, let's say, if I have to really think through, let's say manufacturing as a sector, right? Yes. That's a sector within Indian segment in terms of, contributes to, I think, 15% of our GDP. Definitely we want to go up the ladder. If we are aiming for, to reach our $5 trillion mark faster. What are the use cases we're looking at? We need to bring in more efficiencies over there, right? We have to compete at a global level. How can I bring that in, right? One is, of course, following the principles of leveraging AI to solve my use cases of increasing production efficiency, right? So can I have my complete autonomous shop floor, which is basically being manned by one person, right? And other people can look into the other aspects, right? So AI models can really help you in terms of doing the complete monitoring of the shop floor in terms of where the production is happening. It can help use cases around, let's say, reducing production downtimes, thereby again increasing efficiency, because you can feed the data of a machine into an AI model and it can do failure prediction in advance, right? So you can do your preventive maintenance ahead of time. You can plan your production outputs and have your supply chain ready to fill your warehouses and pick it from there, and logistics can move forward thereon, right? So it can go on very seamlessly. So these are the areas, potential areas in terms of your area can really transform our industries, right? So it's just gonna end up creating more jobs in that space. Only fear that we have is of the change. We will have to learn, we will have to rescale, right? Yes. That's the only idea. We all have to embrace.
Ajit, does it take away jobs? Does it improve efficiency and productivity?
Look, tech is a double-edged sword, right? It may take jobs and it may give some new jobs, right? So for example, 20 years back when I finished my engineering, I didn't have a job designation called persuasion engineer or prompt engineer, right? We just had software engineer. So times change and we are just humans. Let's be humble here. We're just creating technologies for our benefit. We are not, redesigning the universe, so to speak. But I would say this, I would use the word upskilling, because every person in this country needs to know what AI is. It is not a marketing terminology. It is a technology.
Yeah.
You're doing MBA, learn AI. You're doing marketing, learn AI. You're doing tech, you'll anyway learn AI. Yeah. You're doing PhD in some scholarly, linguistic studies, learn AI. Because this will be ubiquitous. this technology is going to be the future.
Yeah.
Right? On the flip side, I can give you two instances where this has actually resulted in displacement. One is a recent one from Hollywood. There's this filmmaker and actor, Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
He was planning to expand his Hollywood studio at $800 million. Okay? And OpenAI came up with this Sora. It's a generative AI software for video production, all right? So he saw one of the video produced out of Sora, and he said, I'm not going to expand the studio. I'm done. I'm using this. You know, this created a flutter back then. So, of course, there will be displacement, but the need is adaptability. Humans are adaptable. Let's understand our history. We've always evolved. We've always adapted.
Correct.
And this technology will get us to the next level of our capacity, our capability.
Tejas.
Yeah, I think as they mentioned out, upskilling and reskilling, these are very important. Again, I can give you two use cases. We have a lot of security agencies today in India, SIS, too many security agencies which are providing good services. Now, if you're going to, monitor your perimeter of any VIP security or a gated community or anything, you don't need to have 20 people, 25 people there guarding your perimeter. You can have a couple of drones, couple of sensors, and couple of cameras integrated, wherein you have a model there which will be able to predict intrusion detections, which will be able to track and trace the intruder, all this stuff, and you can probably reduce that to 2 or 3 people. But that does not mean that you're going to lose jobs. It's going to provide more jobs, but maybe in other way. So reskilling and upskilling is definitely important in this sector. And when we talk, this is a civilian use case I'm talking about. When we talk about in a defense use case, and I barely want people to lose jobs there. I don't want human casualties there. I want bots to fight bots. I don't want our humans to go and fight bots.
Yeah. Okay, so you can take this one, Subhabrata, because I think the field that you work in specifically on improving efficiency and productivity, in your case, AI has played a big role.
So essentially the way I look at it is that earlier, if you were able to, serve to X consumers in hands of an expert, AI can now serve, 1,000 consumers. So essentially, in the right hands, AI is actually increasing efficiency and producing more deliverable outputs. So even if there are, I would say, job replacements for now, ultimately those would evolve. So it's similar to computers, right? When it started, it was not a specific subject. It was an amalgamation of electronics, etc., etc. But you needed to know computers back then. If you're a biology student, the example that he gave, everyone, marketing, etc., is similar with AI. Whether you're using it or building it, you have to be here.
Yeah. Ankush.
Yeah, so see, I think there are two kind of developments we can do with AI. One, of course, building the right platform, big platforms which can be used by developers to create applications. So technologies, LLMs, Gen AI platforms, one. The second is solving the problems. So now as we see, I doubt if there's any industry where AI is not being used. Last week in one MG mall, I've seen a big mattress ad saying, hey, words first, AI mattress. So it gives a feeling like now everything would have AI. So now I think there are two things again, part of using AI for application development, solving problem. One is identify the right problem and solve with tech, and probably you can use AI to that. But I think one major area which we are adopting AI for is make your existing app more adaptable, more usable. The way last week we have launched voice-based payment system with NPCI. What we're trying to do, we are trying to make any system, any software system, and even hardware system talk the way we talk. We believe with this, since talking is a natural way of interaction, this will increase the adoption of UPI, and similarly any other systems like railway ticket booking and banking system, e-commerce. So we let user talk to technology so that adoption increases. And I think it's low-hanging fruit. I'm not saying change your core technology, let the banking system be there, e-commerce be there, payment system be there. So add that AI voice layer in multi-languages so that people can just talk to the technology and take the benefit of technology.
Okay. So brings me to my last point, and because all of you are from diverse sectors and industries, so I don't want to ask you specific questions. I'll ask one question which each of you can take. Kamalji, because it's your turn. Okay, so I'm going to start with you and then we'll go around the table, right? How can India leverage AI to improve its competitiveness in the global market? How can we be a global AI leader? Now, the follow-up to that question is that, are there any specific sectors where AI can provide a significant advantage to the Indian market?
All right, sure. I think first of all, I think India is definitely poised to be an AI leader in the global market, and very specifically because we have been the leader in the space of providing IT services, right? So AI is basically riding on that. It's a technology which is leveraging information technology, and we are building those models on top of it very specifically. We have the highest number of IT professionals working out of India, supporting global big stalwarts who are, let's say, coming out with this AI technology. So a lot of research is already happening here. We have 4 startup founders here who are also working in the AI space itself.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the potential we have in terms of having the highest level of, let's say, most literate engineers in the IT who can very quickly learn, upskill and reskill onto the AI side, and be able to come up with use cases which can solve real world problems, right? Of course, we're looking at I won't simply say that solving a better recommendation or a retail app is something that AI cannot do. It definitely can do it. It is actually doing it right now also. You're getting better recommendations, you're getting conversational AI in terms of guiding you. But what are the areas where it has to really proliferate? If we look India as a country, right? It has to really go deep into the agriculture sector, right? It has to empower farmers to get a view in terms of what decision should I take in terms of what crop would be right for me to get the right, let's say, profit out of my activity, because they struggle with the pricing.
Yes.
Right? They struggle with techniques in terms of how can I ensure that my yield is very predictable and of high quality, right? So government is already taking a lot of initiatives in that space. Specifically, if I talk about agriculture, there are Kisan app available. There is a soil health card initiatives which is already there, which is collecting information, providing some advisory. Now you map AI on top of it, you get more accurate advisory going to the farmer. So you can take far better decisions, right? If I go into, let's say, healthcare, right? Again, India, it's a land of opportunity. And that's another reason I feel that it's not going to displace jobs. It's just going to create more and make sure that technology is available for people, right? So healthcare is going to get more cheaper. It's going to get more accurate. It'll reach the rural places where it's difficult to get a doctor there, right? A qualified doctor or an experienced doctor to be in place, right? So you can have your technology through, let's say, cloud and connectivity, being able to give the right advice to the person who's having some sort of problem, right? It could be, let's say, getting an X-ray done in a remote village.
Yes.
That X-ray is analyzed by, diagnostically done by an AI model, and doctor can prescribe in terms of what steps to be taken. So that's healthcare being, let's say, truly revolutionized. Same thing can be applied for, let's say, managing your biodiversity, managing your climate, planning for urban development. All these sectors can truly benefit with AI. Or we will possibly find an area where we'll have actually shortage of skills. That's what's going to happen eventually.
Fantastic. Okay. Ajit, can we be a global AI leader? Sectors we should be focusing on?
Absolutely. Apart from the foundational AI that I spoke about earlier, where we have the opportunity to change the way social media or the current consumption of data is behaving, there are 2 other fields that I feel that India can be a leader. One is in healthcare, and I'll give you a specific example. The other one is in linguistics. Healthcare, because we have the maximum number of diabetes cases in the world, we can look at AI as the genetic mapper or the fingerprint kind of a deducer as to why this is happening. Is this because of our lifestyle? Is this because of our food habits? Is this because of whatever, right? Now, that is the power of AI, where it'll give you the answer that humans are not capable of getting. Let's understand AI is a technology that's going to enable us, compound us. So healthcare, I think that should be a great research field. Linguistically, if you look at it, we have 121 languages in India, 19,500 dialects, and we are consuming LLMs of the West. I have this firm bias in my head, right? I think we can leapfrog the linguistic field, language detection, language modeling, language consumption, language elicitation, and language production. AI to AI talk, whatever you're doing, can we create a language out of it? We can, the others cannot. Absolutely. So I think these 2 are, because with linguistics, we can take it to Africa, we can leapfrog their education. We can create, materials in Swahili or any other language based on our linguistic knowledge. I think these 2 areas are fantastic opportunities for India.
Interesting. Tejas.
So yes, India can become the leader, definitely. provided, you improve your infrastructure. Because what I see is when we do a lot of edge computing today, still Raspberry Pi to Jetson Nanos, we still buy it out from outside. And also, as I was talking about some servers, we definitely need that. And government is also coming with DPI, digital public infrastructure. Again, when we talk about the crops, already some 400 villages or districts are being mapped for various agricultural crop surveys and various things, where you can have this crop health monitoring, prediction on the disease and control. Then we are slowly moving towards something called precision farming, which we are already doing it with our drones. And even in the defense sector, it's the same case. And when we talk about manufacturing also, the QC process, when we talk about it, there is something called automatic optical inspection. It uses some machine learning algorithms to just analyze whether your entire PCB board is rightly assembled or not in the entire SMT line. Or we can also, when you talk about some BGA level circuits where millions of transistors are there, which you can't see through your naked eyes, you have some X-ray machines where that can again be, on top of that you can have your AI to have your process optimized, have a better quality check, and improve your efficiency and quality as well.
Okay. Subrata, you want to take that?
Yeah, I think one big advantage India has is the amount of data that they have. When it comes to, let's say, consumers, whether it's media or languages, it is just this, different diversity of data, the interactions, the leverages that we can get from it. I mean, it's true. I mean, the West shouldn't be giving us LLM models. We should be giving it to everybody because the phonetics, everything, the diversity that's present, that should give us enough advantage. But for that, India has to invest in infrastructure, and it's across. They have to be self-reliant, and it will be a bit of a patient capital, but it will pay, rewards in the long run, or by a large margin. Because essentially, you want things to be built out of India. And when you have invested in infrastructure, then you're looking across industries, whether it's healthcare, medicine, media, etc. So yeah, that's what infrastructure has to be the key. Okay. That's what will start.
Ankush, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah.
Can we be an AI leader? Sectors to focus on.
Yeah, so see, first of all, who can be better country than India to create AI platforms? As we know, AI needs data, and with the virtue of the highest population we have, we produce data by just living life.
Yes.
As organizations, as individuals. So for platform, yes, we should be number one. And even for AI applications, again, with the virtue of population, we have large problems to solve. And we can, of course, solve with data and AI. And yes, with core over and powered by Bharat GPT indigenous LLM, we create co-pilots for organizations in just 2 minutes. Add your data, link your website in any language, you ask anything, we give responses with citation. Sovereign AI, we are not doing any calls to the US. It's sovereign, it can be deployed even on-premise. Yes, now for I recently read in the news. So I think, yes, technologies are coming together, with, of course, with the support from government to provide indigenous apps to solve the real-world problem.
To add on to that, India is a land where mathematics was born, and we all have geniuses here. Zero was, we found that, correct? And I think AI is all maths.
Yes, I think AI Literacy Day should be announced soon, and that should be from India. Maybe 5th September, yesterday, should also be called as AI Literacy Day. Of course, 01, which is Foundation for Digital, and of course for AI. True. So we should celebrate this as AI Literacy Day.
Yeah.
Very interesting conversation. Thank you, Ankush. Subrata, thank you, Kamaljeet. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you, Tejas.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of the AI and technology panel. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Niranjan.
2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September.
With the AI and tech, with the challenges regards to ethics, biases, one thing is certain. The optimism is all around. Everyone's optimistic about the IT and AI taking India to the fore of the India growth story. And India is poised to be the hub for AI and tech. So don't be scared that AI might take your jobs, but be sure to upskill, be adapt, and embrace the changes. So let's move on to our next panel discussion, which is on Fintech. Now, Fintech is the fastest growing one of the fastest growing sectors in India, and the market is in fact expected to triple by size by 2025, making India one of the global leaders in its place. It's already a country that has seen a mushrooming of startups across the Fintech space, and that is all the more that we can expect from the industry. The truth is that as we navigate this growing and very rapidly evolving landscape, today's experts will discuss how the budgetary policies are going to also impact the sector and explore the emerging trends and opportunities within the Fintech industry. So I'd like to take this time to introduce our panelists. Manish Shukla, founder Check UPI, Satvik Vishwanath, co-founder and CEO Unocoin, Manas Gond, co-founder and CEO Prosper.io, Saurabh Kumar, VP International Expansion Moodrex, Rajiv Chabra, founder and CEO Prop FTX. And this session will be moderated by Suyesha Sawant, Deputy News Editor at Republic TV. Suyesha, over to you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, and a very good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're all settled. And I personally believe we are in very interesting times. And the rate at which Fintech is growing, aiding the financial sector, it is more than imperative that we have this conversation. So Rajiv, I'd like to begin with you to understand that the Union Budget 2024 has provided a huge boost to the Fintech sector. But as industry players, how would you describe the key areas where Fintech can help the Indian economy grow, and also the support that you expect from the government to ensure that the Fintech ecosystem thrives?
First of all, I must thank the government for a wonderful budget, I would say. The budget, why I say wonderful was because they have created a lot of opportunities in the Fintech space. And I can share one more thing. Last week, we were in GFF. Even when a prime minister goes over there in that Fintech festival, that means something, how serious our government is for doing something in the Fintech space. And luckily, we have a lot of skilled people in Fintech, and really, as you announced, 3 times, I can say the multiple times we can grow in next 3 to 4 years. And few things with government missed out, we can tell, but that can happen, And because India is a vast country, when they're making the budgets and all, fintech specific budget they cannot go for. But we industry people, we can tell them, and government is very proactive. They're listening to us, and that's what we can expect from the government, We can't expect everything 100% like for our liking,
Right. Right. Manas, I want to come to you to talk about the regulatory aspect. Now, we understand how the budget has addressed regulatory challenges faced by fintech companies, but the specific measures, according to you, that should be taken to create a conducive regulatory environment. Also, when we are talking about fintech innovation, how can we together ensure, both as industry and the government, to balance it with consumer protection and financial stability?
So most of the time, if you see whatever the laws which governments are making, is to safeguard the end consumers. So the law which came in PIP, let's say, and BNPL, and all those things are there to safeguard the interest which consumers should focus. Now the main agenda of government, the regulation which is coming out, since the fintech is very evolving field, basically from technology, the role is playing, the democratization of the product which is happening. So government is always trying to chase us to so that we do not, or in the name of, let's say, any fintech player, okay, someone cannot cheat, correct? So there are a lot of laws which are coming. Some of the things are which is very, very well perceived by industry. It's asked for industry, you should have such law. And such law, and some laws are, of course, bit conservative approach, which shows, let's say, government should move fast. We should not just look at our country, but we should also look at how the outer world is doing, correct? Let's say, and also most of the thing which I personally feel is, let's say, the way the government should give us an opportunity to think, or at least should give us a proper list of the things which government is trying to curtail, so that we should not invest our resource, or we should not invest our money to build a business which may not last after 5 years, correct? So we have seen how they have regulated the cryptos, blockchain, and all those kind of things. So it's more and more government should be proactively talking with the industry leader, try to understand, and then make the law. But so far, so good. They are just trying to do a good job. Let's see how the things come up in future. Yeah.
To add some facts here, right? So, for example, the abolishing of angel taxation itself. So this was a huge challenge before, not only for the angels, but also for the startups, because identifying the exact valuation of a startup to figure out what the angel taxes is itself was a challenge. And now it is like, anyway, these companies were burning money, they were trying to build, and it was definitely, they were providing employment opportunities and innovation prospect, etc. for the country. So that is gone now. And also, if I talk about the e-commerce platforms, so the TDS has, for the sellers, whoever is selling on e-commerce, has gone down from 1% to 0.1%. This is like significantly very, very important, because the margins for these kinds of merchants is comparatively much low. Okay, so the TDS is supposed to be like maximum of whatever income tax they would pay. If you have the TDS itself is more than income tax, then your capital is getting locked up all across the year, and then you have to wait for the next August or September to claim it back. I think these things the government have definitely very well thought through and have brought this up. It's like fantastic.
Now whatever Sarthak said, I want to add some few points on this. So government has now also, let's say, as a taxation expert, if I speak, so government has also given a lot of clarity, correct? What is the meaning of the TCS, on what should be the property, let's say, even not just the e-commerce, even, let's say, if you are into a prop tech, okay, where the first, let's say, you have to deduct a lot of TDS if you are an NRI and all, those things have become very, very clear, okay?
Right.
So they are working very, very good on those direction. Let's see how the future will withhold us with us. Yeah.
Right. Saurabh, I want to come to you on another important aspect, because the union budget has also emphasized on the potential that fintech has when it comes to poverty reduction and financial inclusion. Now, in terms of ensuring as an industry that you reach out to the smaller pockets, to a more unserved population, to ensure financial inclusion, How are you working towards it?
Right. So at least from a startup industry space, and I see like bunch of innovation that's happening at the grassroots level. There's a lot of innovation that has especially happened on the credit scoring bit, because a lot of folks, and especially folks from lower economic strata, they would not have a credit history, so it's tough to determine, tough to undermine that loan. So a lot of innovation is happening that side. Also from a distribution perspective, what could be a collateral, what could be an asset that is considered for that person, and how can we sort of underwrite that and provide a loan, a micro loan that can be enabled for a lot of folks, which could be based on daily needs, could be based on monthly needs. So a roadside retailer who currently borrows that money from, let's say, a big agent right now, pays like a monthly tax of interest of 3%, goes down all the way to 8-9% annually, right? And that helps a lot of people participate in this economy.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so in this budget itself, government introduced 2 changes. One of them was to increase the limit of mudra loans from 10 lakh to 20 lakhs. Yes. And this increase is going to help MSME to a large extent. And the second thing is another great opportunity for small vendors. This is called the PM Swanidhi Yojana, where small vendors who do not have the credit history, they can utilize the scheme to get the formal credit from regulated banks and other entities. This is going to largely get them, this is going to include them into the regulated financial space.
Right. And in fact, I want to take my next question to you on an extended aspect. Now, we understand how the Modi government has been emphasizing on going digital and digital transactions. But we are still a distance away from having a completely cashless economy. Where do you think the gap is, and how can we cover that?
Yeah, if you talk about cashless economy, let's rewind 10 years ago. We see that it was largely a card-based ecosystem, where in India, credit card and debit card penetration was very, very low. Then came the UPI revolution, one of the government's biggest digital public infrastructure, where when it started, it had few users. Today, UPI does 10 billion transactions a month. And you see from a big mall to the extreme corner of India, every merchant accepts UPI. It has largely filled up a lot of gap, but we still see multiple places where the banking system needs to move up. One of the key things which we are trying to solve also is UPI One World. UPI One World is UPI for foreign nationals, NRIs who do not have Indian savings account. They can also transact through UPI. There are several other aspects where the minors who do not have bank account, they can transact through UPI. Then there is B2B payments which also need formalization, in the sense that they should be easy to make. So government is doing a lot on making a cashless economy. Still, the road is along. Hopefully there will be multiple, you can say, innovative solutions coming along.
Right. Yes, please.
Yeah. See, when we talk about digitization or creating a cashless economy, it is not like one company upgrading their infrastructure systems. Okay, it's about the country, everyone in the country having that push to go towards it. And this needs a lot of other ingredients to be in place. And I believe one step at a time, we are covering like most of it, right? So the first one is you definitely need a smartphone. You cannot just use a feature phone for it. And there should be some good literature, like the literacy should be there. At least, if not English speaking or English reading, at least the regional languages, they should be able to read and understand what the mobile phone is trying to say. And then access of the internet. Right, so now we have like Geo and such, which is really offering very good, internet plans for them, etc. So these one thing at a time, and then again it comes back to having the access to bank accounts, so that if you want to do the UPI, then you need the bank accounts, and for the bank accounts you need to have the Aadhaar cards and everything linked up as well. So there is like a lot of one thing at a time that has to happen. A lot of them are happening in parallel, and definitely like says, I'm also excited to see like how good we have performed maybe since 2016 to today. It's like amazing thing. I cannot even imagine for a country like India to have this kind of improvement. And probably we may be there like 70-75% of most of the transactions that we want to digitize are already digitized, and it's going good. So yeah, it's not easy, but whatever has happened is amazing. Yeah.
So a decade or so.
Yeah, just to give an example, I have not been carrying cash since last 6 months, and my life has been very good.
I think even I have switched, so I agree.
And now I don't even use card. Forget about those things. Everything is UPI driven for me.
I'll add one more line into it, you see. I mean, we should not forget, since I am from the old school, India is very vast and we have so much of population. Things are happening, but things are happening in a good shape. Prudently, things will, take shape. The country cannot be all of a sudden digitalized in a day, It has to happen. Things are happening, I think most of people, we're trying to build an ecosystem where, we all founders of fintech companies, we are trying to do something. There are many like us. They're trying to put their perspectives and whatever they can contribute along the way the government is encouraging. And sometimes, of course, what are things we'll try to put, which the government can also take up, The digitalization is happening. It is, again, not happening at a pace, too much of pace. It was happening, it took up pace from last 4 years. Now it is, plateauing. But it will happen, It's happening.
And again, it's really about reaching into the smaller pockets.
Exactly. That was the point,
Rajiv, I want to come to you on the next point. Now, the union budget has acknowledged the potential of blockchain technology, but we understand that it is still a space that continues to be explored. Now, in terms of specific applications that can benefit India and also addressing the challenges and risks, where do we stand?
Wonderful. That is a topic I love. When I was in my job, when I wanted to leave, do a startup, I told you, whenever you come in Bangalore, you get that bug of doing your own startup, So that bug, hit me also. Well, first thing which attracted me was blockchain, Blockchain, people have a small wrong notion, They always think blockchain and crypto together. But crypto and blockchain are way, apart. Blockchain is a decentralized ledger, I must tell everybody, It's a ledger world over. Decentralized means everybody can have an access, can have a look, not access, per se, but they are transparent, but all transactions are encrypted. Both are, diversive, but in blockchain, both the things can happen,
Right.
But if you say there are some issues with blockchain, crypto things happened, People were not able to understand. People thought it is just, only for investment they took it. Fine, cryptography is a big thing. If at all somebody goes for a use case, one of the smartest person out of India in this Fintech or other tech space, Mr. Nandan Nilekani, he was there last week in GFF in Mumbai. He talked about tokenization. Tokenization is going to take the world, at a different league. That's what was my point. I wanted to tell our government, we need to take a leap. We need to stand where the world is going. Tokenization is going to happen. Now, I can tell your viewers also, they can just Google a word called RWA. That is called real world assets. All assets are notional unless and until we put value to it. The value, whenever they are valued, they should be also able to be bifurcated. The tokenization can go, maybe you can tokenize anything, divide by 100 or 1,000,000. So you will have a value for it, And technology or fintech will make it very easy, and blockchain is one technology which makes it very easy. I think my friend can also, put his point over there, and even both of them can, take it further, They have some use case, I have a use case. So we are using it as a first layer where all smart contracts are put over there. So any transaction in our real estate trade can be checked.
Right.
Even the history of the documents can also be checked. We don't have to go far every time to go to a sub-registrar and check our documents. You can get the document details, which are on your blockchain that is in the form of a smart contract. I think, please.
Yeah, I would want to touch on the challenges and risks. So, of course, one major challenge is the learning curve that it takes initially. So, as of today, the UX to access blockchain and blockchain technologies is fairly hard. And if you were to go for the decentralized side, it's actually tough to access funds. And the risk also comes from there that now it's even harder to navigate your security. You can click one misclick and you can lose all your funds that are held in one account.
Right.
So these are the things that people should keep in mind while even interacting with such stuff.
And also you need to have educated people, educative audience for that, You cannot put
Which
for...
also as an industry you have to do.
No, that's awareness.
Yes,
Unless and until
yes.
we,
Be
I
more
think...
proactive, yes.
Yes, even media also can be, what are the positives at least, along with the negatives. You can narrate to the people, you see. Unless until some awareness is there for the masses, will not going to be... Please.
See, I think when it comes to tokenization, tokenization is not new today, according to me. For example, if you take Infosys, the way they have tokenized is issuing X number of shares.
Sure.
And that is getting exchanged on,
exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Even share is also tokenized.
And if you say RBI government, the way they have tokenized the monetary system is by using rupees, right? So at the end, no one can have like a lot of systems. They cannot have full of something. It has to be a part of something. If only one person have full of something, then it actually does not have any value, according to others at all, right? So, but then comes the challenges of bringing it into the country like India. Okay, so one obviously is the education, but on the other side also, technology gives lot of opportunities of what all you can do. But the first question that the founders like us get is, can we do it or not? Can we do it in India or not? To what extent it is fine? Do we have any kind of policies and regulations in place? Does it ever come at all in the future? And if not, then what is the fate of this kind of idea? So if these questions do not get answered, there is second layer of questions. Do we have the proper banking support for this? Do we have the proper insurance support for this? So it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. So I think in India, one big challenge is we don't have proper, very fast adoptive regulations, right? So once they do it, a lot of times it sits like that probably for, we even have some examples which is sitting since 100 years, the rules and regulations. So it has to be like updated. But the way the industry is growing, if you cannot update it to that extent, or at least like half of that speed, then we will continue to lag behind. Only we can see what the rest of the world is doing, lure about it, saying like, okay, there's like fantastic whatever is happening. Okay, we cannot do it in India, let's wait. How long you wait? Right, so I think we have like sandbox and such where the government is trying to help to some extent where you can experiment, but eventually you have to get it to the masses, you have to get it to the people, right? So for that will only happen when these kinds of regulations are put in place. But when it comes to crypto industry, we were asking for regulation, but they gave us higher taxation than normal, saying that okay, you are according to them we earn a lot of money, so that is not really true, and they gave up with 1% TDS, and that is like extremely high. Whatever was applicable for real estate and such, they gave it here, and people actually transact multiple times a month, and if your capital keeps on getting blocked, then it makes it challenging. So that should be adopted, and it didn't change since 3 years already. It should have changed because the government already have data about like whatever has happened. Okay, if this is obstructing the growth of the industry, then it should be amended, right? So I think that kind of adaptive regulations and policies are required. Yeah.
Right, but we also understand. Okay, make your point.
Sure. Blockchain is just not fintech itself. Blockchain is a big thing, It says the proof of concept, right? Proof of concept means if anything has happened, the proof of concept is there, So there also, if it all say, blockchain can also be used in the medicine, the journey of the medicine, from where the raw material was procured, whether that was the correct quantity, quality or not. So blockchain can be used anywhere. So it's not just fintech.
Right.
Yeah.
So this brings me to my next question, and the larger point we are harping on is, of course, awareness. And Saurabh, if you can take that. It is important to make people financially literate. And given how we are such a diverse country, what do you think are the ways that can be implemented into serving this purpose?
Right. So I do think, like from a long-term solution perspective, this has to start all the way from primary, early secondary schooling perspective, right? If you look at like the financial education or kind of schooling that we guys came out of, we had nothing to learn practically for how to manage our money, how to do with it. And now money has gone digital, your transactions are gone, but nobody has, apart from some influencers who are also now regulated in different ways, nobody has actually tried to explain that world to us. Now, it would really help if this started early, right? And if people were able to try a bunch of these things at much early age, which you will also see in terms of any technology, kids are able to adapt to it much faster.
Yes.
They are far better and far secure in this world because it's a native world for them. So starting them off early is a much better idea. But a lot more government schemes, lot more ideas like crypto probably having a mutual fund sahi hai moment for the next 10 years is probably the kind of things that'll bring the space to
yeah, something like
Right.
that. Exactly is right. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
you want me to add? See, I'm telling you, eventually the technology is going to, take it over, Now we go to sub-registrar for registering our properties. If we use blockchain over there, it can happen within minutes. All the transaction earlier, papers, who were the owners, who were the, if we want to talk about the mother deeds and all, can be encrypted and can be put over there. Eventually, I can tell you, there are some governments, that is Telangana government has already started doing. You'll be surprised. West Bengal government is very proactive in this.
Right.
Eventually, blockchain has to be used, So
Right,
that's what's
right.
this thing. Yeah, that's
So, of course, we understand that, but also that it is a space that needs to be explored a lot more. And talking about how it should start at an early age, I also know 10-year-olds who know how to create an app. So, point is to cater to a larger audience. But I want to move on in this conversation as we understand how a big focus in this union budget was to empower women. And Satvik, I want to come to you to understand how it works in the fintech space in terms of opportunities and challenges for women entrepreneurs in this sector and how the government is supporting women-led fintech startups.
Yeah, see, it's much more general question, I believe, not specific.
And I also understand there's no woman in this panel, but please do explain how it is.
Yeah, so I think there is a lot of push that eventually the government is trying to give, and obviously women are also beneficiaries of this, right? So, like one of the big changes we saw in this is, again, when it comes to taxation, the long-term capital gains, it went down for some of the assets from like 20% to 12.5%. And on the other side, if you see, there is a lot of like the push where they are putting a lot of money for the infrastructure. Then eventually what it actually happens is that will held up, that will be used to build companies, support companies, give loan for the companies. And when you are giving loan for the companies, again, there is another fintech that is evaluating the present situation and then giving the loan for eligible people. And there is a credit guarantee that the government is proposing. Before, that's always like, okay, you're a woman, like to what extent can you like run a business? You could get married, then you could have a baby, like multiple things. So now now, I mean, eventually you have to bring that out and say that, okay, I am investing in an intellect of a particular person. I am intellecting in an organization, right? So for this, I think one step at a time, if you completely say, okay, because of women, I'm doing this XYZ things, it will still not look good. They feel like we are one of them. We are one of everyone, right? So, but eventually the way you try to empower a subtle way, I think it really adds up very well. So like I was explaining, now there are wealth tech companies which are more becoming active because the taxation has reduced. And there is the bigger thing for women for a lot of times is how to maintain the savings of the family, right? So now depending upon the diversification that they take, then maybe for women from affluent families, then you may get to some wealth managers and do the required diversification, etc. So I think it will not happen in 1 year, but probably over 5 years, 10 years budget, if you see, then I definitely see that wherever the women started up to where eventually they have come up, so they will actually see the progressive involvement in this kind of fintech and try to get benefit out of it, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, one more thing which I want to say, let's say, what is the importance of technology in the fintech? So let's say once you are a woman or you are, let's say, man or you are anything, correct? It doesn't define or it doesn't restrict your foundation, correct? What it does need, it's just need your digital identity.
Right.
Nothing more than that, okay? And this is why the fintech player, which is driven by the product, will help women to get more access to the product, which was restricted to the manly. And it was just seen as a, let's say, it will not depend upon just the gender which you are, but also on the digital ability or the things.
Right,
have,
right.
yeah?
So like I said, I should have also had a woman entrepreneur
Yeah,
on the panel to answer that. But Manas, that also brings me to the next question. So women, of course, is one aspect. The other is farmers and how the fintech industry can really help aid the agricultural sector to provide better livelihoods for farmers, and how that is actually in process, like we were discussing.
Yeah, so I will just give an example. One of the fintech, let's say one of the arms of fintech is a, let's say agri-tech, okay? Agri-tech, if you see, most of the companies these days are going insane aggressive on the penetrating the tier 3 or tier 4 farmers, correct? So if you see what are the expense of the farmer, if you, let's say 75% of our economy is driven by the agriculture, correct? And now if we are able to bring wheels to that, or if we are able to, let's say, accelerate the growth of that, okay, we will become the 10 trillion GDP or the 15 trillion GDP, which currently seems like impossible for us. So let's take an example. A major expense of a farmer is to buy seeds, to buy fertilizer and all those kind of stuff. Now, if we are able to give those things on a loan, not just of money, but a commodity as a loan, and just pay me those particular things. So this will bring a lot of transparency. And as Saurabh mentioned, let's say if you go into the tier 3 or tier 4 or in a village, okay, mostly the farmers take the loans from the local landlords or those kind of sahukars, which charges 3 to 4%. Okay. Now, if I'm able to click on my mobile app and I'm able to get loan at 8 to 9%, okay, this is awesome, and this is something which is the real case of digitalization or democratization of the product. And I will give one more very, very good example, okay? Let's say the taxation which we talk about. So most of the thing, if you go to the very, very deep down into the, let's say, UP, Bihar or Odisha, all those section of the society, there it is thought as a, let's say, it's big thing to solve the taxation issue. But implementing the new taxation laws and all, it's give very, very seamless kind of thing to our citizens. Yeah.
And I wish we could talk about this more, but I'm slightly short on time, so we are going to wrap this discussion. I want to take this one last question from you, Manas, on how much is spoken with regards to security and privacy concerns that are associated with fintech, and how can we ensure a safer, secure way forward?
So in fintech, risk is one of the key elements to solve for. Risk comes from various aspects. One is identity risk, that is someone trying to prove that he's a different person than he is. Then you have risk around technology itself, where people are able to steal data and then impersonate as someone else. Call you, like you purchase a new car and someone calls you, I'm from the insurance company, take this insurance from me. So then you have challenges around AI and other domains where the person is able to steal your identity. They are able to do actions which they are not meant for. So some of these challenges do get addressed through technology. So technology addresses challenges through implementing things like end-to-end encryption, having two-factor authentication where you always have a PIN or you have an OTP to do the transaction. Then some challenges which cannot be solved through technology they emerge from the social engineering aspect, where someone just engineers who you are, tries to identify what you regularly do in your life and impersonates as someone else. So these can be solved only through user awareness, and user awareness has to be one of the key areas of research and development where this should happen.
So look, the first tenet of all of this is trust but verify. So the analogy.
And you've also had examples in your own company.
Like we have had our website 38 different websites trying to imitate mudrex.com, right? And we had to actually go to the High Court, get an order to get these sites to be shut down by MeToo. But what happens is that just because somebody is reaching out to you and promising some good returns and says that, hey, click on this link, it's almost an analogy of like how you don't take candies from strangers. Similarly, you don't click on strange links on the internet, and that sort of starts with, you trust but you verify always.
All right.
Also, so I think a lot of it has also to do with people should understand what they should do and what they should not do. Like, so for example, you could just go to a mall, someone is asking you to give your mobile number because they're putting the lucky dip. You have no clue from there where the data goes and eventually how it even comes back and bite you, right? So there are so many technology sometimes is also a weapon, right? So initially there used to be like someone calling you, trying to imitate that, okay, I'm so-and-so, and you need to pay that kind of money, this kind of money, or sometimes it used to be blackmail and such. Now we can even use AI technology, or artificial intelligence technology, where there actually is no human on the other side. And they will be able to do this with 10,000 people at the same time.
Okay.
So now, given maybe even if they are 0.5% successful or 1% successful, they are get paid much more as compared to how much they had to pay those number of people to sit on their side and do the scam. That on one side. On the other side, because of the digitization, people are so used to saying, okay, click one button, scan the QR code, send. And if they're getting blackmailed with something, they just will be like so tensed. Okay, I know. If I pay it, then the issue is gone. But before, what it used to happen means, okay, now I have to go to the bank, I have to write a check, do the NEFT payment. So at that time, people at least thought, okay, if a person comes in, the banker, okay, normally you only take 5 or 10 or 20,000 rupees every month for your expenses. Why are you sending 5 lakhs? Then at least it will trick their mind saying that, okay, maybe I should rethink about this. But now everything digitized, everything at the fingertips, they do it, and then they feel like whatever money is sent to the bank account is always safe because there is a KYC on the other side. But that is not actually, that's not actually true.
Over here, I'll tell you. With tech, it gives you a hand. You need to be smarter day by day. You can't live on your laurels.
Literacy. It comes back to the financial literacy.
Financial literacy.
Right. But as much as you're putting it on the user, I think it is also as an industry to how you work towards safer means.
I do think a lot of ownership is also on our end.
Yes.
Our end, that's right.
Education perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. And so is it in the government's hands. So for a lot of emerging technologies, they will have to start adopting it and then start communicating to end users.
Right.
I actually have one suggestion that I generally want to give people, that if people have multiple lakhs of money and such, then they should have 2 bank accounts. One that is just used where maximum you keep is 1 month ka expense, and remaining money you keep in another bank account that do not have online access. This idea has preserved lot of people's money. Sure. That's like best thing to do.
Okay. Exactly. Okay, we take your suggestion on that, and I know we can go on talking about this, but we do have a time limit. I want to thank you all for having this very interesting conversation, and please let's gather here as we want to present a memento to you all. Please.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you for allowing.
Thanks for having us.
September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital.
Not a short sum or a value by any means. Now, with India also expected to become the third largest online retail market by 2030, that's a lot to look forward to for the retail sector, particularly e-commerce. By 2027, India is in fact expected to have around 6 million MSME merchants contributing towards this incredible growth. To explore the budget's impact on this sector, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our speakers for the session. Bhavna Pagaria, co-founder and CEO, India Zona; Japan Doshi, head of product and technology, Tootsie; Bharat Bomai, co-founder and director, Cut4You; and Tawfiq Khan, founder of Wolfred. This session will be moderated by Deputy News Editor, Suyesha Sawant. Suyesha, over to you.
Thank you so much, and a very good evening to all of you. Again, a conversation that I was looking forward to. So I'm going to get straight to the point now. The Union Budget 2024 has provided a big boost to e-commerce and omni-channel retail sectors. But Bharat, I would want to ask you the challenges for retailers today, especially the influx of technology that is so strong, and it is only going to get stronger in the times to come. So how does everyone cope up?
Firstly, I think you mentioned about the union budget in terms of the retail sector. So there are a couple of things in this year's budget, that was a little bit of eye-catching and probably needed for the retail e-commerce sector. as well as the MSME segments. And I think the reduction of TDS from 1% to 0.1%, that's about 10% reduction, that opens up a huge amount of capital for you and how you spend that capital. Now, you were talking about technology-driven, augmented reality, all these things coming into the picture. This 1% of 10% reduction in the TDS will help us use that capital in putting into technology as well. And then one more point that I want to, that I have observed is the employment-linked incentive. Now, I come from a textile manufacturing background with e-commerce. So for me, every new employee that I employ, I get a 3,000 rupee benefit. Now that will help me garner good skill labor, and I can compete with the big brands as well. Yeah, right. So that's my opinion on the budget. And then with technology, naturally, we all have to, it is something all of us have to be a part of, because we are in that reality world today where everyone uses technology. We have to adapt ourselves to all sorts of technology in terms of augmented reality and AI.
Right. But the other big aspect of the budget is also the emphasis on sustainability and ethical consumption. So, Bhavna, how do you think retailers are really contributing to India's growth story on that front?
Okay. So, first of all, there is a lot of growing awareness about sustainability. The consumers are accepting that such products, and they are looking for better sustainable alternatives. And for that, it is the right time for the retailers to build their brands. And when the budget is, given the provisions for private research, these things will enable the sustainable technologies. Apart from the technological side, the folk talent of India already manufactures such sustainable products. And at India Zona, we are trying to bring in such products, such folk talents, such small businesses to the forefront by giving them the platform to be visible to the customers at this time.
Right. Right. Okay. The next point, Japan, I want to make is on the challenges, of course, that brick and mortar retailers face, given how there is so much going in the online space. And also the fact that the consumer landscape has changed. Now it is stronger experiential value online as well. How has your journey been on that front, given the fact that it is a personal experience to actually wear an aligner?
Yeah, if you look at our journey at Tootsie, like it's a teeth aligner product and service where typically, customers are used to going to doctors in the clinic and get the service, right? But the problem is, if you're a small doctor, if you're a small clinic, how do you get visibility? Your visibility is restricted to the people around your area, and you're not able to reach to the customers across India. So online gives you that sort of leverage, right? Today, consumers' behavior has changed, where the first thing if they want something, they first look at online. They go to internet, they search for something. So for Tootsie, first thing we had to do was build a brand where people can actually search, go to Google and just say, hey, I want teeth alignment, how do I get it? And second thing I think we realize is that people look for convenience, right? People don't want to, go out and look for, do their own research, go to one clinic to the other clinic. Just you come here, you just order your aligners, and you get it at your home. So online brings you that, it makes it easy for you to discover for customer. It gives you that convenience that you need. But we also realize that the customers need that trust to use any product. And that's where the brick and mortar kind of setup comes into play. So in our case, for example, instead of just being online, we had to figure out how do we become omni-channel, and we had to actually go and open the experience center. So today in India, we now have about 40 experience centers. So the way consumers interact with us is very interesting. They go online, they find us, they order the aligners, and we deliver to their home. But what they also do is they visit one of our experience centers and get the aligner fitted, where they meet the orthodontist and they get that trust and the experience that they need. So I think we are moving in a world where, at least in India, the omni-channel is core to all the online brands, and the brick and mortar who are not online should be getting online, and at least, at a minimum, they should be out there to get the visibility that they need.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's very important in today's times. Tawfiq, I want to talk to you about the next aspect. Now, companies all these years have had R&D departments studying consumer behavior, but today you have data analytics and AI to do that. And it is time that retailers also move towards that in a stronger fashion. Also, the other aspect, when we talk about specific technologies that aid stronger customer experience and also help operational efficiency, all in all, what is the way forward today?
I feel like, this is like a revolution right now we are living in. Even like with the budget that has come out, it's super positive. And right now, when it comes to like an e-commerce sector, or even if you're seeing it as a retail or for consumer behavior, as you said, it's very important to create an experience. And the reason AI has come into the picture and adapting and taking over the market is because it's giving an experience. Like it's artificial intelligence, but it's giving you an experience. And for audience, I feel to come, or any consumer to come in the just buy your brand or just get into the data or just understand what you do is, I feel like it's very important to give you an experience. And we as a brand, like I have a multimedia company, and just it's been 12 months we have created this kind of an experience for audience and just build a brand. Now we are slowly venturing into the retail side of it. And now I'm understanding that how much that experience has affected us in 12 months. So in 12 months, we were just giving them an experience that what we could do, even without doing anything. And now we feel, it's the right time, seeing the budget, the tax reforms, keeping everything in mind, So I just feel it's a great time. I see myself as a, it's like a revolution we are living in, because back in 5 years ago, this wasn't possible, I mean, it's like, how internet came. When internet came, people were like, oh my God, this is going to take jobs. Post office is going to get shut. There's not going to be so, it's that kind of an era we are living right now. It's a revolution. It's something we have to adapt. And not just be afraid of these technologies, because people are like, okay, it's going to take jobs. I don't think so it's going to take jobs. I think it's going to take like jobs of people who are not able to operate AI, because so you have to be adaptable to these things, because the consumer is expecting a lot now. They want an experience, like as we were discussing, the Zomato thing, like, you see that image popping out, and you see that, and immediately you've already bought him on an experience level. So I feel, we as a company are so focused on creating an experience, like through animation, through social media mediums, and building a brand that now I feel it's time for us to, incorporate that same experience into the retail. So, now people are expecting a lot from us in the retail because we've already given them a lot. So, I feel technology is a great thing, and we need to, incorporate in our e-commerce sector or in the retailer side of it.
All right, we'll talk about that in greater detail, but another point, Bhavna, is the budget highlighted the importance of supply chain efficiency. Now, how can retailers optimize their supply chains to reduce costs, to improve the timelines, and what are the challenges in particular?
Okay, so I will first like to talk about the reforms, the infrastructure reforms which are highlighted in the budget. So the government is allocating 3.4% of the GDP for the infrastructure reforms, which is huge. It is going to, revolutionize the infrastructure, the integrated transportation systems coming up, the industrial multimodal parks coming up. They will smoothen the whole logistics journey and also the supply chain for the retailers. The small scale retailers, the challenge which they face currently is that they do not have the bargaining power, they do not have the control over the supply chain. And to tackle such a challenge, they should, join hands with logistic aggregators or join to the marketplaces wherein those bigger players have the bargaining power and they can help create a efficient supply chain for them. But on their part, retailers can, look at workflow automation on their end. They can look at inventory optimization, dispatching the order in the minimum timelines. These are certain steps which small retailers can take to ensure faster delivery.
Right. Okay, Tawfiq, another aspect, since the pace of growth that you've seen in such a short time. Effective digital marketing is, of course, the need of the hour for all retailers, whether online, whether offline. They have to be out there. So in terms of reaching a wider audience to increase your sales, while the strategies are evolving.
I'll just tell you one very simple example. Like, okay. Nike never came to us, or Reebok never came to us. What they gave us an experience. Nike never said that this is my shoes, you have to wear it. Or Reebok never said. They gave an experience, and this is going 100 years back. Same goes for Apple, same goes for Steve Jobs, Disney. They are giving you an experience first, and they are telling you this is who we are, this is what we do, and then you make a choice. Then you either get into the retail side of it, the merchandising side of it, and that's what's going to happen with AI now. Now AI is coming in, people are testing waters with it, but I feel it's just going to be a very revolutionary time. We just have to incorporate and give people experience. I feel that's what I, as a founder, understand. Like, coming from a multimedia segment, that giving that experience is very, very important. Because today, if you go to see, the days are gone when Pepsi used to lead the market, or Cadbury used to lead the market. We have Feastables like Mr. Beast from YouTube. The reason he's able to do those things because he's been giving experience on YouTube channel just for free, and people are now going and just buying that experience. They're not even thinking of the chocolate. They're feeling that, that's the experience. We have to get into it. Same goes with the Prime drink. And I feel Indian market is into this, and the audience want that. It's just that there are less resources, there are less platforms. People are yet figuring it out. But I feel with incorporating AI and with industries like me or sectors like me, if they kind of create these experiences, because first 12 months we never even thought of just doing any sales or anything. It's just like, I want to make sure that my brand is expected in a way that, people, when they see it, they know what they're thinking, and they are very sure of it. And I think the next segment is the retail side of it, and we are looking forward for it. And with the union budget, the tax reforms, with the incentives, keeping everything in mind, I think it's a good time, and I feel the next 5 to 10 years is a good time to be in India.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of, I think, social media, and I think there is, in the consumer behavior side, what the young generation see is the FOMO effect. So now we are all catering in terms of getting our product, like what Tawfiq mentioned, in terms of behavior. We're showcasing that behavior on social media. We're creating that experience. We're creating a FOMO effect. Now I can just give an example of our company. Cut For You, we are online, we are D2C, but it's on invitation basis. So we want to create that FOMO effect on the corporate sector. So we're getting a lot of corporate orders, but we're creating that FOMO effect because I want someone like a Tawfiq, I want someone like a Japan, I want someone like, anyone who's there to have that feeling of what am I missing out on. So that is where the consumer behavior and social media effects is going, and I think that will be the future.
Right, but I also want you to comment on how the landscape is changing for small and medium-sized retailers as a part of this evolving market.
So, like Bhavna mentioned, in terms of small and medium scale, you're getting a lot of accessibility to technology now, a lot of accessibility online. There are a lot of companies that are out there that are giving such services at a lower cost as well. So you get a lot of accessibility, and at the same time, you can manage your inventories also better. So there's a lot of inventory management systems that are there. So it helps out in that manner.
Okay, talking about that aspect, quality and safety is, of course, prime. And that is something that retailers must ensure. Now, again, for a product like yours, which is so personal to someone, how do you ensure the regulatory requirements are met?
Yeah, so I think for any products, quality is the paramount, because that's how you earn customers' trust, and that's how you get repeat orders. I think for us, it's even more important because if you look at something like teeth aligners you put in your mouth, so customers are going to be even more paranoid. So we ensured that we had stringent sort of protocols in place. We are FDA compliant. You know how critical it is for a customer, for products to be FDA compliant, and how rigorous that process is. So we have about, we brought 3D printers, which ensures that we minimize the errors in the production. We have about 20, 30 step process, the quality control process, where aligners, after they get manufactured, they go through the detailed process of polishing, ensuring that the dimensions are proper, there are no cuts. Because I think if you miss on any of that, I think you can risk causing bleeding in your people's mouth. So I think for any products like us, for healthcare, there are these regulations that apply for cars, for any products. There are regulations out there. I think it's important for retailers to adhere to those regulations and not optimize for the speed when it comes to quality control. So we today, for example, we are delayed on our production. Sometimes it's because we are trying to make sure that we ship out the quality product.
Right.
Customers sometimes are unhappy, but later I think it always kind of works out in their favor. So I would say it's very important for all the companies to have a rigorous quality control and making sure that that function is independent. I think that's also very important. That has helped us.
Right. Right. And one another thing is assessing the quality of the products online, which the consumers are buying, is pretty difficult. So in that place, a good videography and the good photos of the products that the consumers can put in, they can really help consumers to virtually assess the product before buying. And here where India Zona also comes in, in our Bharat Ki Dukaan, Apni Dukaan, we have the swipe and buy section, wherein the vendors can upload the videos of the products, and the consumer experience also comes in, where the consumers are habituated to shopping through the video format, and all things comes tied around. So the quality is also assessed and the user experience also comes in.
And that is where we have been discussing it briefly, but augmented reality, virtual reality, and how real an experience it is making for the consumer to sit in the comfort of their own homes and just order what they want. I mean, exactly what I shared with you earlier on, that I could see the picture of that bread that I wanted to buy online, and that got me to actually believe that it's real. So in that sense, consumer experience is changing by and large, and retailers are also feeling that sense of, I won't call it pressure, but certainly that factor that they need to align to it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the people who are buying online, I think they want to feel the product, which earlier wasn't possible. Now with augmented reality and AI coming into play, that's possible. Like at Tootsie, for example, we launched a feature called Smile AI, where without even ordering the aligners, you could just take your picture and the AI will show you how, after wearing the aligners, how your smile look, and that has done wonders, because we have customers now coming to us and saying, wow, I didn't know I could look this good. I could, this could be my smile. And I think this applies everywhere. Like even for brick and mortar stores, I would think that if you offer augmented reality experiences, it can actually streamline your customer experience. Imagine, you have someone walking in and trying to, buy sunglasses for their wife or husband. There is no way you're going to figure out how it's going to look. It's a trial and error. But if there was a kiosk and you could just feed in the picture of your partner and it just shows, this is how he or she is going to look, I think that can just truly change the way people shop and experience. So I think it's both online and offline. I think augmented reality is going to start changing the way consumers are going to shop.
Okay, the other point I want to talk about is the luxury space and how there is a growing demand in that space. Given the increased spending power of Indians today, how do you see it evolve in the times to come? And what is it going to be like for luxury brands to cater to this growing market?
Yeah, what I truly feel like, luxury has always existed in India. Like if you go to see the best fabric right now in India is looking, I don't know, like he can answer better, but I think it's khadi. It's luxury. But the problem with luxury right now in India, and why we are not being recognized as luxury brands, is because of the branding. Because luxury comes from branding. It's not the fabric. It's not. Of course, you have the quality, you have a USP to sell, but it's the branding, it's the experience, it's what I am saying to you as a brand that making you feel like there is already a luxury, you know, maybe it's shooting a video or it's shooting an experience or incorporating AI or incorporating VR or doing a live show for it, you know, just like that. Like I mean, if you just go to see like brands like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, they have one of the greatest cinematic experiences. Greatest, like even Martin Scorsese would sit down and be like, wow, what is this? Now the thing is, they are showing you the luxury of it. They are already, it's not the best fabric or it's not, okay, they are incorporating, they have the best designers. To be honest, their designers are also coming from a music kind of a background. If you go to see Pharrell Williams is kind of the creative director of Louis Vuitton, who has never had a history in fabric or textile. But the thing is, he always made music for, I can say, quote unquote, rich people, or like, you know, music for audience that feels like they're in the Lamborghini or they are in that. So, you know, the luxury has so much to do with branding than just the supplying or just the making side of it. Because I feel once India adapts that, once India knows that this is how it's done, I feel we're going to have one of the best luxury brands, and we are nowhere far. I think it's going there. And you know, one of the greatest person that I idolize is Jeff Bezos. He said that, you know, gone are the days we used to look up at to the West for, you know, one of the luxury brands. India is booming in that sector. India is going to be like the capital of entrepreneurs. So, you know, we are adapting. It's like, you know, earlier it used to be like, you know, we look at the West to kind of incorporate luxury, but I think it's going to be vice versa very soon. And I feel the kind of talent, the kind of skill set, and the manufacturing and everything, the supply chain is so good over here. I just personally feel why there is why aren't we seen as a luxury brand yet? And I feel it just, then I kind of do the R&D, and I feel like, you know, the branding, the experience, the whatever you're showing to the customer is so important that once they see that, it's like, you know, they automatically, you know, just, it's like a automated thing, like, you know, just experience, okay, this is like a luxury brand. So
right. And we're slightly short on time, but Bhavna, I really want to talk to you about this because we live in very interesting times. There is a renewed sense of consumerism where we take pride in going local and buying local, and also the government's push in local going global and meeting those standards. What is your sense as a retailer in this market?
So I personally feel that India is richly talented. It has very nice products which has to be showcased to the world. However, there are certain issues why these products are not able to reach to the global scale. One of them is like the standardization of the supply chain, the compliance process. That becomes very complex. And for exporting, in the budget specifically, there are certain relaxations on the exporting norms.
Yes.
And there is no particular platform which is, you know, enabling from the route to the globe. So only limited people are able to seize on that opportunity. So providing that platform, relaxation of the compliances and on the taxation norms is going to, you know, take up these local products to the global scale. And again here, our India's Ona, the Bharat Ki Apni Dukaan would come in, and we are also planning to do the same. We are going to take India to that global scale.
Right, Bharat.
Yeah, so I think she made a very good point on the accessibility to exports. I think in this year's budget,
yes,
the government of India has ensured that there are export hubs or centers that will be there, which will get accessibility from local goods. So which will become a big enabler, like people like you, people like us, and people who are in the consumer sector who are buying locally. Also, in terms of the budget, again, you know, FPOs, you know, there's an increased importance given to FPOs where even the farmers produce goods, or, you know, the byproduct which a farmer produces also will have direct access in terms of getting it out there in the market, not only in the domestic market, but also in the export market.
Right. So, certainly a positive point there, and to which I'd like you to add in terms of India incubating itself from any global geopolitical flux and how that has an impact on the supply chain dynamics.
So I'm someone who believes that with every calamity there comes an opportunity. So, and the recent crisis that we are seeing geopolitically, probably India is in a center of a lot of geopolitical issues surrounding it. The recent one being Bangladesh, but also I see an opportunity there. A lot of big brands, big companies, where almost 70-80% of Bangladesh's GDP is based on textile. So there's a huge opportunity for India to capture that market, not allow it to go to China again or Vietnam. Rather, we get all those orders back into this country, where a lot of policy making is also important.
Right.
From the government of India's point of view, and also in terms of our marketing teams going out there and getting those orders. I think there is one study that I was reading that probably the retail segment in terms of textile is going to grow at a CAGR of 13%. But probably with this geopolitical issue, we can reach 20%. So that's the opportunity that I see, even though there are geopolitical issues around. And we can maximize the supply chain by using good technology, good softwares, which will become a big enabler.
So that brings me to my closing question, which I want to take to all of you. Will India, according to you, be an alternate pillar for global retail? And what do we need to do to get there? You can all take that turn by turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to sort of focus on the strengths. I think we have talent. We have government who is coming out with amazing policies and infrastructure initiatives. I think ONDC is one of those, which is a UPI moment for retailers, small and medium. So I think if we can sort of leverage on what the government is building on with the talent that we have, I think we can definitely become a serious alternate to the world.
Yeah, just to add to his point, I think the government of India is working on it. A lot of free trade agreements are around the corner. A few have been signed, a few are yet to be signed. I think a lot of FTAs that get signed will open a big opportunity and a big window for segment of MSMEs, which contribute literally 40-45% directly or indirectly for exports to the world. So I think FTAs in the coming days will be the most important, and that will open the big doors.
Yeah, I feel like the next few years is gonna be like India's groundbreaking time, and just adding up to him, and the opening up the export hub, just getting that exposure to all of these things, and the FMCG sector is also doing so well, and so many plans coming out for FMCG sector. I just feel the next few years are very important, and with this union budget, with this policies that the government has come out, I think if we can leverage nicely, and as Japan stated that we have so much talent in this country, we have so much skill set, so I think we can do definitely leverage on it.
And I would like to say that the startups, the D2C brands which are coming up, and given with the tax relief which has been proposed, the angel tax has been abolished, it is going to be a great enabler for such startups to become global brands and take India to new heights.
All right, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. I wish you all the very best in all the businesses that you are all running, and we are in very interesting competitive times, and I'd also say it's up to all of us, I mean all of you, to how you thrive and grow in this market of opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever
industry, ladies and gentlemen, is the 5th largest in the world, continues to evolve with advancements in technology and changing consumer expectations, patterns. And this transformation is pushing the industry into a new era of innovation. And on the panel today, we are very, very excited to welcome some of the brightest minds, some fantastic people who are doing fantastic work in this industry, in the automotive sector, to discuss the key factors that are driving this transition and what the challenges and the opportunities are. So let me introduce our panelists today. I have Narayan Subramaniam, the co-founder and CEO of Ultraviolet Automotive. Thank you, Narayan. I have Puneet Agarwal. Puneet Agarwal is the head of Smart Mobility and Sustainable IoT GeoThings. Thank you, Puneet. I have Vikas Bardia, the founder and CEO of Chauffeur. I have Suhas Rajkumar, who's the founder of Simple Energy. I have Paras Shah, the co-founder and COO of Kazam. And I have Shitanshu Tyagi, co-founder of Emo Energy, joining us on our panel this evening. Now, where do I start? Ladies and gentlemen, when we were backstage and just discussing what we were going to bring to this round table, one of the key takeaways was that the industry, especially the EV, the electric vehicles industry, wasn't very kicked, if I can use the word, about the budget. Who wants to take that one? It's a very uncomfortable question. Who wants to take that
one? I mean, which aspects exactly do you want us to get into?
Be careful about what you say, Narayan.
So any specific aspects that you would like us to?
Okay, let's start with subsidies, for example.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, at the outset, India has seen a very structured plan that has cascaded through starting 2019. So we are in the 5th year of the subsidy program. And I think it's done a tremendous job for accelerating the adoption. And as an EV manufacturer, I think adoption and technology need to go hand in hand. And if you ask me for our view on this, while it's rapidly increased adoption, companies like ourselves find that having a cap on a certain price band with regard to the vehicle segments we operate out of is something that we could relook at from the upcoming updates to the subsidy perspective. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because while mass adoption is important, and I believe India has got everything it takes to become a technology powerhouse in the EV spectrum in the next 5 years. Yes. And if we need to do that, we need companies that are focusing both on mass, on the infrastructure side, like my colleagues here, and of course on building cutting-edge technology. And it's going to be an even mix of all of this.
Yeah. Especially, I must say, Paras had some strong views on it, subsidy. You want to take that?
Yeah.
Paras?
So earlier in FAME 1 and FAME 2, we had EV subsidies on specifically focusing on four-wheeler segment, but the volumes are coming from two-wheeler, three-wheeler, and other category as well. There is a good change which has happened from the government side in FAME 3, where the allocation on the subsidy for all type of vehicle have increased. So super excited to see FAME 3 and very positive on that note. Yeah.
How soon do you expect that to happen, Suhas? FAME 3. I have some breaking news on that, but I'll...
I think it was expected tomorrow because I heard it 1 week back that, it was supposed to be, framed out first week of September. Yeah. But some sources say it'll take about a month or two. I hope it comes in fast, and I hope there are major changes, especially on how they're bracketing the ex-factory prices and ex-showroom prices. so that, quality products kind of get an opportunity to, sustain themselves, and rather than, building something offload and just trying to, put up out there. And I think R&D needs to be incentivized in India. Okay. In my opinion, FAME 3 should, kind of look at companies which are deeply focused on deep tech in terms of EV, of course, charging infra and other aspects. I think if that can be included in this, it will definitely boost the entire industry up. And apart from that, the demand is always there. Increase the subsidy on the prices that are currently, been slashed, as you mentioned.
I see that two big players are very, very, I wouldn't say two, many of you here are very, very particular about the subsidy subject. Okay,
I'll just add one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's kind of even a bit more important now because we're in a high interest rate environment, right? So a bunch of people who were earlier, they not only got subsidies, they got cheaper financing to buy their vehicles. Right now, the cost of financing has increased in the past 2-3 years. That combined with, let's say, removal or reduction of subsidies is in general going to engender lower adoption. Because now, not only are they more expensive compared to what they were earlier, the cost of financing has also increased.
Yes. Okay. While we're on the subject of FAME 3, because I don't want to come back to the subject later, let me put this question to Shitanshu as well. Why is FAME 3 important for the industry?
In general, if you see countries that have done well, like Norway and China, subsidy and general government support has been a big part of it. And that is going to be the similar story in India. 5 years of FAME 1 and FAME 2 have helped. You've seen two-wheeler adoption go up. You've seen three-wheeler adoption go up. But the one thing that also is happening is the focus on consumer subsidies, I think, should go away, and it should be to companies itself. The companies that are doing well, that are actually establishing businesses, it's a lot easier to fund that than the complex process of FAME returns, claiming subsidies. There have been a lot of companies that have made a lot of misuse of that whole concept of FAME subsidy. So just to keep that a more streamlined approach, I feel supporting businesses in the first end, instead of supporting consumers at the last end, I think is a lot more fruitful for the industry in general. And there are PLI schemes, but then again, they have caps which make it very difficult for smaller companies or MSMEs to actually claim that.
Yeah. Okay. So Puneet, I won't ask you too much about the subsidy question. I know you come from a different, a vertical there, but what are the challenges as you see it in the electric vehicle segment?
I think it's a combination of things. One of the things which are here is the subsidy and adoption, the initial adoption curve, which I'm sure everybody is looking at, not only from consumer perspective, but also companies bringing out more. So it has to, I think it's a balance which has to maintain from both perspective, and it's very tough for government to decide which side to give when and how much to allocate to what, including the charging infrastructure as well. But challenge I see is this information specifically from infrastructure perspective, and not just charging infrastructure perspective, but energy infrastructure perspective and the EV perspective. All of that information it needs to be a connected intelligence is what we are looking at. Because the point is, how do you, figure out what the budget is? So by default, some of those things need to be put in there, that who needs to get those subsidies and who needs to get that information has to be not just qualitative or verbatim, but has to be quantitatively published to them as well. And that can only happen if that systems are available and some neutral party is cohesively collecting that information and can share back to not only to the government but to the ecosystem itself. So I think that's my point in terms of till what time these policies are going to be, or these budgets and subsidies are going to be. And how do they keep justifying that, okay, these subsidies are given to right set of people at right point of time, actually. Okay. And that's very important.
Okay. You touched upon a subject of connected transport ecosystem. Now, these are real issues. I mean, subsidy is a real issue for all of you. And connected transport ecosystem is a real issue for all of you. It affects all of you. What has been done? What needs to be done? How serious is this issue, Narayan?
I think connected transport is an emerging field, and electric vehicles makes that a lot more accessible in terms of all the data, right? And if you break down all of that, the ramifications of the data that we have access to could have effects on planning out better infrastructure, could have effects on the consumer experience. Of course, it goes back all the way to your production planning, supply chain, and today we're living in a world where we have multiple AI tools, right? And I think what we've seen at Ultraviolet is we've been experimenting with how to use AI in efficient ways to optimize not just the consumer ownership experience. For example, each of our bikes are connected. So before an owner comes in for a service, the brand knows what needs to be done with the vehicle, right, on the front end. And on the back end, it helps us optimize, know our customers better, figure out our supply chain, optimize the supply chain. And of course, at some point, at a critical scale, which is the whole industry coming together, all of this is going to play a role in infrastructure development, improving road qualities, figuring out which parts of the country needs attention on what parts of, the physical connect between use cases from two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, all the way to long-haul transport systems. And of course, energy efficiency across each of these platforms is also going to be different. And the requirements on the grid, planning that out as you scale charging infra as well, comes into play here. And everything being connected is, I think, a golden opportunity for us to really build a sophisticated system.
What are the current challenges as they exist today about the connected transport ecosystem? For example, you have this logistical issue when the government puts money aside for charging stations. There are logistical issues on the ground. There are real-world problems that you guys face. Why don't you talk about it?
Correct. So, so I will take connected system in two parts. One of the thing what government and we as a company are solving, one of the major issue is there are certain sets of CPO which are charge point operator who are putting charging station at location X. And there are certain kind of vehicles which are running on location Y, right? So government has initiated a new process called UEI, Unified Energy Interface, where all the charging stations which are been installed pan-India will be coming to one single network. It is an intelligent platform where you will know all chargers from 3 kilowatt to 240 kilowatt range of chargers coming into one single platform, and it will be shown to all users. The user can be an OEM partner like Simple Energy, Ultraviolet. It can be a fleet partner like Blue Smart, or it can be any kind of e-commerce partner like Swiggy, Zomato. The whole objective of connected vehicle or connected ecosystem is to increase the utilization of the asset or utilization of the money which has been deployed in the market. So Kazam been one of the founding partner of UI, where we are democratizing the whole ecosystem, where all the chargers will be integrated into one single platform and it will be shown to all relevant players. This will really have a significant impact on the complete utilization of the platform.
Okay, Suhas, what are some of the challenges that you face on the connectivity front?
See, first of all, if you look at the entire ecosystem, which is kind of turned smart, if you look at 6 years back or maybe a decade back, we really didn't have a concept called connected platform. We were purely about building up and just analogs and doing things. Today, why connected platforms are important is because at Simple, we have about 30 lakh kilometers of customer-driven data. So our biggest feedback from the consumers, which are really smart people, that we don't have real-time access to certain aspects, and there is no quantification, as you mentioned, right? How much of charging is required? When do I charge? How do I charge? Etc. etc. So we never had those aspects when we were beginning, right? And one more thing is, when you have a public information which is clearly laid out of all the vehicles out there in terms of daily commutes, what's a peak, what's not, and how the charging is done, etc. And you have a real-time accessibility to all kinds of charging network around you, and which is AI-enabled, of course, as Narayan mentioned, that AI is the next big thing that automobiles are really looking at. But when you have this aspect coming in together, and we have a platform which is accessible just not by an OEM but a customer also, and gets a real-time feedback, I think that makes everything easy for everyone across, because every company is kind of investing in data-driven aspects and also AI modules around. I think that investment can be put into better use if we have a connected aspects across the industry, just not OEM related. I think with Kazam also, as you mentioned, right, government is trying to bring in a unified platform which kind of helps in the charging infra. But I think on the contrary, but I think we should also look at how customers are consuming electricity on the electric vehicles, one, because that improves your grid infrastructure and gives government a data of what exactly is the consumption is going to be next 10 years or 50 years. How can we improve our infra, because grid infrastructure, and how we can shift towards more eco-friendly ways of generating electricity. I think that is a very key part of India's goal of achieving net zero carbon emission. I think this will also be part of that connected platform, just not OEMs or things. I think it's a larger picture that we should look at.
Okay. Puneet, of course, you have a very, how do I put it, proactive government on the issue of EVs. Of course, there is much more that they can do. You know, when such thoughts come in, and they're from the startup ecosystem, the guys who are young, the guys who are energetic, the guys who have so many ideas. I mean, all of you have fantastic ideas. But do you feel at a policy level that proactiveness is finding a reciprocation? Is there something more that the policymakers or the bureaucrats can perhaps do to help this industry?
I think, look, they are taking initiatives step by step, and those are in the right direction. Obviously, there are certain things more in terms of connected transportations can happen as well. And that can be part of the policies if they want, but I think the priorities right now are very different.
Yeah.
And hence, if you think the focus is much more on what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So the steps are there. Can it be proactively thought? Yes. From connected ecosystem perspective, the thought has to be based on primarily 3 I's. It is that everything has to be integrated, which is, you know, interconnected with each other.
Yeah.
When I say interconnected, that means your EVs, which is your electric vehicle, your EV infrastructure, which is primarily all charging infrastructure or battery infrastructure, and within EV batteries as well, that's one of the important component. And third is your energy infrastructure, which we just talked about. So all of them have to be interconnected. And then the second point is that they have to be interoperable. That is the second I, actually, because we can't operate in silos for each other, actually, right? So all of them have to be interoperable. The standards have to be from that perspective. One of the points which he shared about that how do we get that interoperability, actually. And the third is intelligent. So if they are interconnected, if they are interoperable, the intelligence will come because the data is available on a common platform today, right? And that is something which Narayan and a few of the other gentlemen also said is, in EV, specifically in India, we can leapfrog this because nobody else has been able to do it. And we as Indians are known to leapfrog in certain segments.
Especially when it comes to data.
Yes. And we can be the first in the world probably to get this in the common platform for everybody, actually. And that's what we primarily do, is enable these 3 I's for anybody to come in and actually do that. And the common fabric for them is connectivity. You know, for any transportation ecosystem, right now we talk about physical connectivity, which is highways or roads. But what you need is a digital highway and digital roads for connecting specifically EVs. And that is what is needed. Because how these EVs perform in Kashmir versus Kanyakumari versus, you know, a very rainy season or a north where it's sweltering heat, actually, you really need to have that information. And some of these OEMs will be much more present in that area, right? So how do we build that overall ecosystem and have that common platform with these 3 I's? I think that needs to be focused and brought in together in various forums. And who can bring all of these 3 parts, energy, infrastructure, EVs or automotive, these segments, all from government perspective also have to be brought on one platform or one forum who can talk about all of that. Because this is what's going to build this ecosystem together. It's not one or the other. I think it's all have to come together to give this.
It's a fantastic thought. I mean, you made a point, you know, earlier when we were speaking. You said, and I'm putting this question to you, Shitanshu. You said there are more vehicles in India than homes.
Oh, absolutely.
There are more vehicles in India than homes.
Absolutely.
And if we could track as a country and give the world an example of during COVID, the manner in which we rolled out vaccines, and it was all primarily got to do with data. If we can have your RFIDs on every vehicle, right? At toll plazas, there's no reason why all vehicles in India can be connected, right? Shitanshu, it's a great idea, but is it possible?
Absolutely. I think the technology is there. There's a lot of companies that are working on this. The intent, though, to actually standardize and make something interoperable, for example, is very difficult in this segment. There's a lot of different hardware players. There's a lot of different software players. And if you take UPI, for example, and so a lot of people mentioned about UEI, to implement UEI versus UPI, the level of difficulty is immense because there's so many companies. You need to standardize chargers, batteries, IoT devices. All of these to come on one platform, I think the government really can't just be recommending. It really has to mandate, and mandate to the point where everybody has to do it or you're kind of out. That becomes extremely difficult in an industry which is still evolving. There's a lot of us who are still developing more advanced ways of doing things. So there is a catch-up game here involved. But I do believe that there is the intent at least to have some data being tracked on every vehicle. So we as a battery company, for example, track a lot of battery data, which we believe in the future is going to be very critical for used vehicle financing, used vehicle insurance. Even just how do you know whether the battery is degraded first or the vehicle is degraded first? These are a lot of issues which I think the government is trying to address, a lot of private companies are trying to address. I believe in the next 5 years, there will be a lot more movement on this, but a hardware-driven industry for a country like India, where there's so many parties involved, is very difficult. And
I'm bringing it down to some questions on the minds of the common man, right? For example, and media is partly to blame for this. I mean, I'm not saying Republic, but I'm saying generally media is, when you speak of EVs, right? The first thing that people tell you, "Arey yaar, battery, charging, there's not enough charging stations." They say, "I heard batteries explode," right? Right? Like, how do you address these concerns to a market that you want to evolve, that you want to grow? You want to take that question? You can.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we run a fleet of 100 EV cars, and I think the challenge is real because before we started this business, spoke to a bunch of drivers, spoke to a bunch of EV users, and people have all kinds of anxieties and doubts around a new piece of technology. I think if we took about 15, 12 years, if we rewinded 15 years, the switch from smartphone, the switch to smartphone rather from Blackberries or the keypad-oriented phones also probably kind of faced a very similar trajectory where people were just like, but what if it stops working? What if I can't press the screen? What if it just hangs? But it took like an iPhone, which was of a very superior form factor, to kind of then start showing people what that life could be. I think in this space also, because there's a lot of anxiety and, for most people in India, purchasing a home is like their biggest investment.
Yes.
Purchasing a vehicle is their second biggest investment, right? So you kind of can't blame them for being very anxious about whether or not they are making the right choice. Some of it is real, some of it is very psychological, right? Like you could say that, okay, range is 100 kilometers. Now, 95% of that time, that person is probably not going to cross that threshold. So that's like an illogical fear to have. But for that 5% or that 2% of the case where they might be in a position to cross that, that is what they will base their decision on, or very likely to base their decision on. It's just human.
Yeah.
So there, I think,
But has the industry come a long way from there?
It definitely has, right? All of these things help, right? The kind of new vehicles that a bunch of these folks here are introducing, they have higher ranges. That's a function of better battery packs, better technology being put in. A lot of the charging infrastructure has come up, which again reduces the anxiety. And it's not only the infrastructure is now available, it's also the fact that there's more power. So like, what you could do earlier, what would have taken 1 hour, probably will take a lot less today. So those things have definitely helped the entire kind of industry as well as the users move in the direction of more adoption.
Yeah. I think it's got to do a lot with awareness also.
Yeah. Of course.
I think awareness is everything. I'll confess, I didn't know too much about the EV industry and the kind of advancement in EV bikes and technology, right? Until just before we came in, we had a very friendly banter. When I said I travel 150 kilometers in Noida, Suhas immediately said, I have a range of 220, man. And Narayan here, what's your range, Narayan?
320.
320. Fantastic.
Yeah, close.
Good stuff. But on the safety aspect, the industry's come a long way, right? I mean,
For sure.
from then.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. So I think what you just said is very relevant. The transition that's happened from one way of life to another often is met with resistance from those of us who are used to that previous way, right? So while the mobile phone industry definitely saw that happen, we're seeing that in the vehicle industry as well.
Yeah.
And to get a little more technical on this topic, see, cell chemistries have evolved rapidly from pouch cells to today we're working with multiple formats, cylindrical cells that are widely used now in the automotive industry. And at a cell level, the chemistry is quite stable. You have LFPs, NMCs with different energy density between them. And all of these cells are tested for, most often north of 100 degrees as well, right? And it's often the separator material between the anode and the cathode that gets compromised. And what could avoid any such instances that we've seen from certain companies in the last, say, 3 to 5 years, is good quality manufacturing at scale.
Yeah.
Making a battery pack that is robust at a prototype level is often easy because you put a lot of attention, energy into it, but scaling that once you get to hundreds and thousands, the manufacturing process, the line, that is where I think if enough attention is given from a thermal perspective. So, for instance, there's multiple levels of safety on battery packs: electrical, electronic, software, thermal, mechanical. And we as a company have taken safety very, very close to heart, right? And as much R&D effort has gone into the battery tech as the rest of the vehicle. In fact, we're running our 7th generation of batteries, which is the fixed format batteries on the F77. Our foray started with making batteries safe from a modular battery perspective, but today we migrated to a fixed format. And when you engineer each of these and test each of these, for example, a mechanism like a cell level fuse, right? For us, we couldn't use a commodity fuse structure. We had to develop our own fuse and making sure that fuse blows at a certain threshold across materials that you're sourcing from different parts of the country. Needs physical testing, and that takes a good 8-10 months in some cases, and you cannot bypass that. So my view on this is, we've got everything it takes as a collective knowledge base in the country. But I would say to the whole EV industry at large, let's take a little more time to make sure the product and the engineering is robust before putting it out there in the roads. And we're still at such a nascent phase in the market. Whether you're hitting the market in 2024, 2025 is not going to make such a big difference in the grander scheme of things. And in fact, the more people that take it responsibly, the stronger the industry is going to get.
Also,
go ahead.
Yeah, just to add, you spoke about safety being a concern and battery will blow up and things like that.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying generally.
Generally, okay. I think that is a thing of the past. I think I'll come to a few points of Narayan also, right? Because I can correlate to him because Simple has spent 5 years just on the battery packs, more or less on that. But I think media can educate the consumer on the quality of the products that companies are bringing in, right? We have never had a roundtable on the guys who really qualify the battery standards, which was laid out in 2022 by the Government of India. Let's give some credit to Government of India after the fire incidents happened in March 2022, and they came up with regulations. Brilliant, thing. Of course, that kind of impacted a lot of timelines, but I think media can play a big role, getting stakeholders which are serious about it. I think media should do an independent audit, go to factories, go to R&Ds, see what those companies are doing, bring them on the table, educate the consumer. This is where you should be looking at your products coming from, not from XYZ of other countries and of course, a few things here. And as Narayan mentioned, it's just not about certain chemistry or anything. It's just purely how you kind of pack it together, how you implement, and how do you get the quality in, right? For example, at Simple, we developed our own PCM with IIT Indore. We collaborated with the institution of India itself, right? India has immense talent, and we can solve battery technology in mere of very small time with the right efforts and right attention. I think we don't have to really worry about battery as a problem today. It is just it's a misconception. Because of few examples in the past. But I think today we are more advanced, and I think it's just right education. I think media can play a big role in this. And of course, government is pushing in from their end, and I think they're doing a fantastic job, in my opinion.
I was going through some of the numbers, of the sales of four-wheelers, EVs versus two-wheelers and three-wheelers. The numbers are huge. Correct. And I think the mindset also is changing somewhere, right? So this is a larger question to all of you. You can take it, Puneet. We have the technology. You look at the folks here. Everyone must be in their 20s or 30s max, I'm guessing. 30s, right?
28.
Okay. 30s. Okay, 20s and 30s, right? It's fantastic talent in India. You have 20 and 30-year-olds launching brands and, fantastic products, and, they've got the market share with them. And we have the technology, we have the talent, we have the willpower, we have the energy. What more do we need to become a world-class automotive industry? For example, I mean, he just told me that, ultraviolet has been certified to now sell in Europe. And I'm sure that many more EV makers in India can go out and do that, and we will be exporting, right? I mean, we all also do that in the normal vehicles. I mean, the two-wheelers do it, but in the EV segment, that's a big deal, right? To adopt to those standards and then qualify, right? My question to you is, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges? How can we leverage technology and the people we have, the talent we have to become a world-class automotive industry?
Look, I think a lot of good work which is happening, and I think we were talking about this, it's the overall consumer experience.
Yeah.
And I link it from the safety aspect of it, actually, right? And I'll abstract it from EV parts specifically. We as India contribute 1% of vehicle population, actually. So number of vehicles all across the world, we more than 1% actually, which is there.
Yeah.
The number of fatalities in India is more than 10%.
Yes, yes.
Right? Is that contribution because of vehicle safety? No. Right? It's the driving patterns, it's the driving behavior, it's the infrastructure which is there. So if you really ask me if we can make vehicles which can work here and are safer enough, that can work in any country, actually, to be honest. So yes. I think some of the gentlemen who is sitting here, who's in this manufacturing space, if they can manufacture here and get it working here, it will leapfrog and we can go out and be one of the best exports, actually. So one is obviously technology plays paramount. He was just saying 6-7 months of testing which needs to be done. I think apart from time frame, it's also the varied data set at different places, at different time, different configurations, etc. All of those things are considered. That's the time-consuming process.
Yeah.
If that can be reduced, can he do a lot more faster? Obviously, he could, actually. And that's where the technology would come into picture. That's where the, a lot of that data ingestion, if he can get per second data on all of these information, what's happening based on the road infrastructure, based on driving patterns, because battery cell chemistry is all common, actually. Right? But somebody is driving in a certain pattern, somebody is driving in a different pattern, in different roads, the behavior is going to be different. So if that information access to him is available, any one of them, they can make a faster design, faster changes in the technology without recall of these things.
Yeah.
Over-the-air upgrades can happen because most of these are now software-defined systems, actually.
Yeah.
But mechanical systems have been there for quite some time. Interlinkage has been time, but I assume most of it is now getting as software-based, which can be upgraded online, actually. So I think a lot of those things are happening both from technology perspective. We're also leapfrogging some of the designs which you see of coming out of our two-wheeler, three-wheelers, as well as now passenger vehicles as well. These amazing designs. These are like world-class designs which are there, which nobody is doing, and that too at such an affordability.
Yeah.
Initially, if you go back, some time back, design was always considered to be premium.
Correct.
Right? And we were talking from chauffeur perspective also, they give a premium experience and a premium service, but an affordable price. Because that's how we are, right? And if I can do that and take it outside, who wouldn't want to take it, right?
Yeah.
They would want to take it, actually.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a combination of that technology, experience, design, and the faster churning out these things, which we can take outside. And I think we will be, anyways, we are third largest automotive, economy in the country, actually, anyways.
And because you touched on a very important point, I'm just sort of deviating a little bit here because it's very important. I'll put this question to you, Shitanshu. In the newsroom, right? I don't know, it doesn't happen when you're in a national media, when you're sitting in Delhi or Mumbai, and when you're doing the national picture. But in the regional media, in the local media, right? Every day there are at least 10 to 15 horrific videos of accidents that come in, and it's horrible. I mean, it's painful, right? Yesterday, there was an accident in Raichur, in Karnataka, where a school bus carrying students was involved in this massive accident, and many students lost their limbs. 2 of them lost their lives. Very disturbing images. On the issue of reducing accidents and safety, right? Where are we at? What can we do?
Right, I think there's a lot of things we need to do right? Like all the way starting from how we lay out policies around this. A lot of people have talked about infrastructure improving. Vehicle safety standards itself, if you take us globally, we're still far behind, let's say, some of the US or some of the Europe standards. There's a lot of push for more airbags for passenger vehicles, but you'll notice that in buses, there's nothing. Buses is just a steel shell with seats protecting people. So the vehicles that actually matter, we've obviously done a lot lesser work than what is expected. So there's multiple layers to solve this. I think there is a lot of companies at every level trying to solve this, but from the government side, again, a push to really mandate like buses with a certain level of safety, cars with a certain level of airbags, people really being pushed to put seatbelts on all the time, because that's an 80% risk mitigation itself.
Yeah.
We as a country just hate seatbelts in general. Like even cars, we put it behind our backs, we try to just plug them in, and we're probably one of the few countries that are actually so against it. Like backseat drivers in cars probably never even use seatbelts. So mandating some of that, having electronic systems that study your data from across from safety levels, using that to improve.
Yeah.
At every stage, we need to just be way more serious about safety. I think this comes as a consumer mindset. This comes as a vehicle companies pushing this down your throat, and just the government really mandating this as seriously as they can, because we as a country in general take this a little bit lightly as a topic and don't want to spend even 1 rupee extra just for safety's aspect. And it's a hard problem to solve with so many people always having that mindset, but yeah, just always talking about it, always keeping it at the forefront, always just keeping that as the first priority in design, in implementation. That's all I think we can do as manufacturers.
Yeah, design is one, but on the implementation part, are there serious issues? I mean, because you look at the age of, for example, buses in the rural areas and the quality of these vehicles, and you spoke about drivers and behavioral patterns. So how do you solve this problem?
I think with the new EV connected vehicle system coming into place, for example, say one of the things what all EV manufacturers are doing, if the vehicle is running at a specific, like I was taking a chauffeur, I was taking an EV cab, where if the driver is driving at a speed above 65 or 70, right, the system automatically triggers it and tells the driver not to drive above 65. So what I'm seeing as a transition from a mechanical ICE engine vehicle to EV, because of the connected system, a driver can be given notification, a push notification, or even an IVR call, where if the pattern is breaking, for example, if he's driving rashly, if the driver is driving the vehicle rashly, it can be solved at an immediate basis. The notification can be gone immediately, and then, of course, if we go into the BMS system, they can even lower the power of the battery or even the motor, and the vehicle can be even stopped. So by using the connected vehicle system, we can definitely reduce the vehicle fatality rate.
I think we can just solve it by two things, right? Now let's just not ignore the fact that ADAS is very advanced, right? All the passenger vehicles, government can just come with a policy. You need to have this emergency braking and ADAS system at level 2 or level 3, whatever government feels right in safety standards, and incentivize those aspects to OEMs directly. Say your vehicle cost will not go up, might go up by 5%, 10%, but whatever goes up, government will support just for the commercial vehicles or the vehicles where kids are going or it is used for that, and permits of these vehicles need to be strictly audited. Every single traffic police guys are equipped enough. Now we are, putting challan for 130 kmph. I think this is easily trackable. I think we are living in an AI world. Let's not be ignorant to the fact that there is technology available. Implementation has to come from private and public sectors, and I think we can definitely put that forward. And I'm sure government is going to look at it. And if I get a stage wherever I can speak about it, I think I will push for ADAS and automation in the passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles, because just not kids, but I think a lot of truck drivers meet with accidents. I've seen every time I go on highway, I'll see 1 or 2 trucks, off the road, and there are a lot of issues there. I think if we can subsidize those safety aspects so that vehicle prices don't go up, because these are gig workers and they cannot afford expensive techs and at scale we can reduce costs. But I think government can take a big initiative here and apply level 3s or level 2s, if not beyond that. I think Europeans are easy to come in here and they can share the tech. I don't think that.
You want to say something, Priya?
So I'm just want to add, look, what his point is very valid, actually. Look, government has taken certain initiative. For example, they mandated certain things for hazardous carrying material, actually. And we closely work on this for retrofitted specifically. Look, there are only 2 to 3 points here. One is compliance. Government has already have a lot of safety standards and how people need to drive, but there's a compliance issue. Now, compliance is a behavioral pattern of an individual.
Yes.
Plus, how can you monitor it? So either putting cameras on a traffic light or traffic police monitoring it manually. But putting this ADAS retrofitted, we've already working with a lot of logistics companies where we're putting this retrofitted. Another problem is overusing of drivers. Look, we all talked about utilization of assets. Asset utilization is not a problem, but utilization of a human being as a driver, that we have to channelize. Look, he also needs to stop after every 4 hours, 5 hours, need to stretch, etc. So I think it is a compliance and the education which has happened. And compliance, one of the points he mentioned, we're working with these logistics companies, putting these cameras and having this voice system in the trucks and vehicles where we identify whether he's wearing a belt, whether he's drowsy, whether he's sleepy, so that we can prompt him, oh, why don't you stop on the side, take a rest, and do. And also their driving pattern based on these, tracking systems which are there, whether he's harsh braking, and penalize the driver, or not just penalize, but educate him later on. Look, you've reached to a level 1 or level 2 or level 3 in driving patterns actually. So that their utilization, their safety is also considered. It is both ways that, it's the driver also who has to earn the money, so he will go 12 hours, 20 hours, straightforward, right? But if you really want to increase the safety, it is not just putting tech, because you have to then go back and say, this driver has driven for 4 hours, he got to stop for half an hour, otherwise this vehicle is not moving. Right? Or you got to change the driver. And that's where a lot of, I'm sure the fleet companies and the logistics companies are taking initiative, but it has not been as pervasive as, which is we want it to be actually. And I think that should happen.
I'm just going to add and just say that, look, I think the tech exists in India to kind of monitor everything if you want to, track everything as much as you want to. As a fleet operator, we actually do that for all our cars. To ensure that, not only the drivers are driving safely, they kind of only drive, as you said, up to a certain limit and not stretched, because it does become a real risk, not only for the guests in the car, but also the drivers themselves, and for us as a company, for our brand and reputation. I think, to answer your question directly, if we have to minimize the kind of fatalities and accidents that happen on Indian roads, enforcement is one big thing which he put across as compliance. And then kind of, making sure that incentives are aligned within the boundaries of that enforcement of the laws that have been created. Right? Because the drivers are going to drive if they're going to get paid. So you need some sort of checks and balances in place, and then you need to enforce that. But the tech exists, the tools exist. How do you enforce that? How do you get school buses to upgrade, and who pays for that? Who puts in that piece of technology? Those are the questions that we really need to answer.
Okay. Sorry, running out of time completely. He's got a flight to catch as well. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick round with all of you. Of course, the next budget is a few months away. A few months, it's not too far away as well. So if there's one thing you're looking forward to in the next budget, Narayan, what would that be?
I mean, it's the incentives towards electrification are on track. And I would say if companies are building technology out of India, then I think the incentives needs to be agnostic towards segments or levels of technology or price bands that companies are operating at, because we need everybody to build a robust ecosystem.
Reduction in import duties of EVs of all kinds, and definitely reduction in personal income taxes.
Okay. He went no personal income.
Why not?
Automotive giver. No, it impacts.
Okay, let me give the auto angle. If people have more money to spend, they can buy more automotives.
Of course. Puneet?
I think there has to be incentive given to automotive OEMs to have this connected intelligence baked in, because I think that if that comes as a policy or an incentive in the budget, I think the adoption is going to happen much faster. And I think we got to look down a few years. It will be really beneficial for all of us actually. So I think if that can happen, nothing like it. Specifically in automotive segment, look, government is doing a lot of stuff in AI and tech and everything. But when it comes specifically automotive, look, roti, kapda, makan, and gadi, right? I mean, that always we have heard, right? So mobility is something which is needed. And as I said earlier, we've like 20 million more vehicles on the ground as compared to houses. And we are increasing, percentage increase is way too higher actually. So that I think we need to have an angle here specifically from connected intelligence perspective in the automotive. And part of the budget as well.
Okay. If there's one thing you want in the budget.
Yeah, it's just overall lot lesser taxation just on companies who are genuinely promoting technology, right? Like I think Make in India is a big thing, but making in India is the last step. There's like 10 steps before that where you design, you engineer, you just do so many things before that. I think there should be a different structure for companies which are genuinely pushing that realm for technology in India. Because in the past, like light mobility, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, have been a Japanese segment, have been a European or an American segment. As a country, these vehicles and energy storage and all of these in general, we genuinely have a shot. So the government is generally supporting on the ground for companies that are doing this. I think that will be huge.
Suhas?
2 points. I think we need to incentivize R&D, tax holiday for people who spend a certain portion on R&D. That needs to be emphasized, especially on the angles of EVs and cleaner technologies. The second is, for example, in the factory side of things, state government gives you some allocation of your cost of the human resource. I think R&D has to have that, in my opinion. Government should incentivize, industrial training, R&D training, and give companies rebates on that part, saying that, okay, you push this training, because to be very honest, we might be the greatest people in software, but we have a long way to go in hardware. And I think revolution will not happen just on software, it should happen first on hardware. I think if we can incentivize companies which are investing in hardware and give them more leverage and just not talk about software, I think that will be more important for us to, and general public sentiment will change, and hardware companies will do way better. If you look at Europe, America or Japan, they're built on hardware first and later software. I think we should, look at that very seriously in next budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the most important thing what we feel is, at least on the charging piece, as an OEM, they are getting direct subsidy to an OEM, but in the charging piece, all the subsidies generally goes to the oil and gas companies. So we would really like the subsidy on the charging piece should be directly go to the charging OEM. Like us, for example, when we manufacture our own charger, so the subsidy should come directly to the OEM and not to the oil and gas. This is one of the things what we really want in this budget.
Fantastic conversation, and I hope all the ideas that came on the table, and there were many, I enjoyed the conversation. I hope all of you did. Narayan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and I'd like to say we need more forums like this.
Oh, of course.
A lot of interesting thoughts exchanged.
Yeah, get more people who are really doing a great job to get here, debate about things, and bring out new ideas.
Fantastic. I love this format, and I think we'll do it more often. I think from the Republic end, I can tell you that Shitanshu, Puneet, and Vikas. Vikas, Paras, and all of you.
This is the government's favorite word. Come on.
And I hope that all of you achieve that in your respective industries. Thank you very much, Vikas. And there was a fantastic conversation. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Roundtable series: AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series: AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series: AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series: AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024, only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series: AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech, consumer goods and retail, automotive and mobility. Watch as we decode the impact on 6th September 2024 only on Republic Digital. Republic Digital is all set to drive the spotlight with its first ever roundtable series. AI and tech, Fintech,